J. Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah!
Welcome! Here we go! Here we go! Here we go! It's game day.
Here we go,
game day
yo.
in Cleveland. Are we ready for the Pittsburgh Steelers tonight on Monday?
I want the Browns to win by 100 points tonight. I want the Steelers to be humiliated.
I'm ready
Why?
to go.
Because I'm so angry that what I said on Friday about the Steelers getting their ass kicked physically got so blown out of proportion.
Of course it was. As soon as you were saying it,
I know, we all were like,
hold on. I gotta say
What
something.
did I say?
I gotta say something off
I think you
top.
mentioned gurneys.
I said I don't want
Drag 'em
anybody
off the
getting
field.
taken off of the
Hey,
gurney.
listen.
That's what I said.
Hey, first of all, shout out to the Kool-Aid Mafia. We'll
Yeah.
get to that before. But I was.
Oh, I didn't even notice.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. Just
Yeah, there you go.
But by the way, I was laid up all weekend. I was kind of, didn't feel that well. And I turned over the phone, and everybody going crazy on Bull about what he said. First and foremost, it's a lot of y'all cats out here be out of pocket.
That's right.
If you talking about Bull, is Bull petty? Yeah. Do he talk over
Damn right.
people?
He's Petty LeBeau. We call him that.
Do
Yeah.
he talk
damn
over
right I'm
people? He be talking over people.
Yeah.
Does sometimes he arrogant and don't think he's ever wrong?
That's
of
true.
course.
That's true.
Not
That's true.
sometimes,
That's
all the time.
But every
That's
time
what makes him a good talk show guy.
Every time you disagree with him, you can't just throw it all under one. Bull is a Bengals fan. That's not intellectually honest, to be truthful. If you want to debate him, hear what his merits are, and then bring what you bring to the table. But just don't dismiss it because you think he's a Bengals fan. That's corny to me. I'm gonna just be honest.
I was trying to remember exactly what you said. I remember in the moment I was like, "Oh no, Bull,"
Because I don't.
but I don't remember. So clarify it because I.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not finished yet.
Yeah, go ahead.
So here's the thing. I went back and looked at his comments, and let's get this straight.
I should have.
A lot of y'all cats took that way out of proportion. You didn't even listen to the context what he said. He said he didn't want nobody to be hurt. He said he wasn't trying to hurt nobody, but he wanted them to go out there and beat the Steelers. I'm gonna tell you from a player's perspective. You see, there's a lot of y'all that watch the game for 30 years and know what the rules. You think you know the rules of engagement. You ain't tackled nobody. You ain't been in no locker rooms. You ain't ever lifted no weights to do none of that. I'm gonna tell you from the perspective of a player. Everybody is going out there to play as hard as they can. I'm trying to hit you as hard as I can. I'm letting you know that from a player's perspective. So when you saying, oh, we don't want to do this, and no, we're not going to do that. First and foremost, Pittsburgh Steelers fans, you have no legs to stand on. Where was this same energy when James Harrison was knocking our players out?
Joey
for 10
Porter.
years? Where was Joey Porter? Hey, you had to do karate kick us. On a AB kicked a dude in the face. And y'all laughed and talked about it, and you waved on your terrible towels in our stadium. Listen, just because your quarterback ain't that good and you think you might get beaten Monday night, don't virtue signal because we don't pay attention to what you say. Ain't nobody up here trying to work in Pittsburgh. We don't want to go to the games. We not trying to be affiliated with y'all, and we do want to beat you. So if you think you going to shame us into liking you and virtue, you're going to hurt somebody. No one should want to hurt anybody. Keep that same energy when you had Roethlisberger and all them other goons out there hitting Colt McCoy and Muhammad Massaquoi and Josh Cribbs. I got it on tape. Don't say nothing now because we coming Monday regardless of what you write. The time is coming, Bull. And leave my dude alone. Get up out of here. Kick rocks.
I don't even think I need to say anything. That's well said. Thank you.
I was trying to remember. I just do remember in the moment. I think I was more afraid of where you might go.
My point was,
I was like, oh no, Bull.
My
don't
point
say it.
was,
I don't think you ever did.
My point was, and I thought it was completely obvious. Is I want the Steelers to get their ass kicked so bad that they're basically too tired to get off the field.
You know what I
That's
thought
it.
when you were ranting was the first thing that came to my mind was the Ohio State Miami National Championship game because that defense hit Ken Dorsey like I've never seen a defense hit Ken Dorsey.
That's my point. That was my only point.
I know that's where you were going.
I didn't want anybody
You were just kind of.
And
clearly, I don't want anybody to get seriously hurt. I mean, ridiculous. That
I think that's obvious.
Yeah.
I think what happened was, I think the one thing that someone sent me that bothered me was where they picked up the quote. I was
That's
like,
the
whoa,
issue.
wait a minute.
That's the whole issue with it, Jay.
Now, that doesn't always erase everything you're about to say.
Right.
But as I remember it, you actually prefaced your lift and paste comment with I don't want anybody to get hurt.
That's right.
And that's what was left out.
Yeah.
So journalists, but particularly wannabe journalists with a couple hundred or a couple thousand followings on Twitter, and now all of a sudden you think you're Edward R. Murrow, don't twist it, okay? This is why athletes despise the media.
They don't like you like
and this
that.
is also why a guy like Jason has built the career he's built, because over his entire tenure, what he's shown by his actions with athletes, he's never going to quote them out of context.
Nah, that's right.
He's never going to violate a trust. He's never going to use them as a source if they've asked not to be used. So it's
I
that
think I was going
kind
to
of
get fluffed up out of all this. Cool.
Look at
well,
that.
no,
going,
honestly,
please,
that's
by
how
all
you've done it,
means.
though, Jay.
That's
if
right.
If you ask the players, what do you think of Jason Lloyd? They're going to tell you, fair, honest. Some don't like you,
Yeah.
but let's face it,
Yeah.
you're never going to please all of them.
Right.
But my point there is, for you
Most of the
journalists out
players
there,
like
or
you.
you guys who are now masquerading as journalists,
Yeah.
who think you're going to get a lot of clicks with clickbait headlines saying Cleveland sports talk show hosts wants Steelers players injured.
Yeah.
Be
That's
very
bogus.
careful how you use that, because it's also the words that you didn't use in the body of that story that tell the whole story. So if you're going to tell a story, just tell it start to finish.
That's right.
Don't leave the good stuff out because it fits your narrative.
Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
an
Thank you
operative,
all.
not a journalist.
Yes,
if you
that's
do
ridiculous.
that.
So, by the way, on a lighter note, I've been meaning to mention this as I've been driving by it for the last 2 weeks. Have you guys noticed the new banners that are hanging outside of Brown Stadium?
The players
are awesome.
under the rain.
What's that?
It looks like they're raining on the players.
I love
haven't
it.
seen it.
They showed that graphic during the game.
Or I
Okay.
haven't paid
Stadium.
attention to it.
Where it was rain.
Oh, is
it
it
was actually
raining?
raining.
I thought it looked like they were coming out of the water. I think that's what it's supposed
Whatever
to be.
it is,
Anyway,
the
they're
players
really
are
cool.
wet
They
in
got
the
these
picture.
new
Okay, I haven't seen
huge
it.
Hang
banners
on
hanging on the
If we can
stadium.
find a
I didn't
picture of
notice
them
them.
somewhere to
They're
give our
really
audience
awesome.
a
I
reference
don't know.
point,
I
I'd
just
love
thought
to
they were
see it.
really cool.
Yeah, I haven't noticed. I've been
Yeah.
by there a couple times, but I guess I haven't looked at it. Today's show, final thoughts leading into the Monday Night Football game. Did anything happen over the weekend that might change our minds? Pittsburgh's opponent in Week 1, San Francisco, looked very good again. Cleveland's opponent in Week 1, Cincinnati, looked better, but still didn't look great. So did anything happen that changed our minds
Yeah,
dramatically?
Amari Cooper limped off the field.
That is the big one, and that's where we're going to start. But before we do, our first hello to Mikey McNuggets behind the glass. How was your weekend, McNuggets?
It was a good weekend. Celebrated our successful launch of the TV show, and we appreciate all you guys out there who watched on WKYC on Friday. That was a lot of fun from us to do, and we are going to continue doing that all football season. So if you missed it Friday, it is on YouTube, but go back, and this Friday, make sure you tune in to WKYC to watch.
Very good.
Overall, good weekend, and tonight it may be a Monday Night Football game. It may be a late start, but there will be a UCSS post-game show for tonight's Steelers versus Browns matchup. Myself, Earl G, and Anthony will be on at the 2-minute warning. You can tune in on our YouTube page. As soon as the 2-minute warning starts, we will give you instant analysis and breakdown from everything that happened on the field, what it means moving forward, some
How
game
long will
grades,
that go?
all
Half
the
hour,
fun.
hour? What do you think?
On Sundays when the game kicks off at 1, it's usually an hour.
Yeah.
It might be a little late tonight, so maybe a little shorter. But if they win, if they
that roll
lose,
back there?
if there's
Yeah,
stuff
they
to
win.
talk about,
If they
we're
win,
gonna
you
be
guys are
talking
going
about
all
it.
the
So
way until 11 in the morning.
Oh,
we'll
and by the way,
we'll go till we can't go anymore.
By the way, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock. I got a special barbershop episode on
Nice.
UCSS. It's going to be the de facto pregame show. I got a couple of nice guests on there. We got an appearance from Leroy Horde. We got an appearance from Darren Smith. And we're going to rock and roll with y'all 6 to 7. That's the pregame. And then I'm going to be right back for the postgame.
Man, Leroy's looking young in that thing.
There he is.
Yeah, that was taken from 2007. Take that picture of Leroy. Now Leroy's got the gray goat.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
For every gray strand in that goat is a little bit of knowledge.
He'd be
Yeah,
like,
that's-
listen.
that's true.
Jay was like, no, you just as old as me. Don't you play
By the way, guys, before we spend the rest of the hour and 50 minutes of the show talking about the Browns, we do need to acknowledge what happened with Kobe Altman.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the news and then let Jason give some analysis?
He was pulled over for drunk driving, essentially.
Yeah. Do we know what he blew?
He didn't blow. He refused.
Ooh, okay, that's not
Yeah.
a good sign.
Yeah.
Do you
I know your
have
attorney
the latest
recommends
on that,
that you don't
Jason?
do that.
Yeah.
But it's usually raising your hand. That's my bad.
Yeah.
Do you have any new information, by the way?
No, not really.
Does it matter that it was his birthday the next
I mean,
day?
it's pretty. I think it tells you what was going on. He's probably
out
out
celebrating
celebrating
his
his
birthday.
birthday.
Yeah.
Most likely. I mean,
Yeah, we don't know. That's a supposition.
that's an assumption.
I just don't
And
understand.
what time was it and where was it? I always
Yeah.
look at those two things because maybe you can get a little information from that. Maybe
it wasn't
not.
terribly late. It was just before 9 o'clock.
Okay,
on Friday night.
To me, that's better than 2:30.
Absolutely, and it was on Route 2, near the East 55th exit, but it was on Route 2. So
on Route 2 near East 55th.
probably.
So he's probably going home.
Probably going home. Yeah.
There is no
You know what,
excuse
to
for
me,
a person
it
that
does change the way I look at it. That
Yeah.
it was 9 in the evening. I mean, it's not like he was. I mean, we don't know, but it's not like to me the 2:30 in the mornings. You've probably been tanking all night.
Right.
It's probably a big
Right.
number.
But to not blow, you probably know what you're going to blow, or you know what I mean.
Or you
got
might
money,
be afraid
guys.
that you're close.
Guys, I no excuses. He's
No,
got
there-
money.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
Like,
that's
call
not
an
even an
Uber.
excuse.
Even that's not really
But,
an excuse.
yes,
but
I know what
like
you're saying.
when you have the money that he does,
Yeah.
how do you not have someone
Well,
to drive
not
you
even
when
if
you
you
get
have
drunk?
the money. An Uber lift home is $25
For anybody, but especially
and,
someone.
and even now, in the 80s and 90s, it happened, and it was really hard to say, get a driver, get a friend. Sometimes maybe that's not available. Today, no
There's
excuse
no
for a
And
DUI.
in that, you just call team security. Just call security.
Right.
Hey, come get me.
I need a lift.
Yeah, that's
I
why
need
they're
a
there.
lift.
Like, that's what they do.
Yeah.
You think he's going to lose his job?
No.
No, I don't think so.
No
either.
chance. There may be.
Kelly Bronson, is that how you say her name? Bronson?
Kelly.
Yeah.
Kelly. She picked up one a couple
Yep.
years ago.
Yep.
Yep.
Suspension.
She did not
We've
lose her
had them
job.
in Cleveland sports history.
Yeah, sure.
Look, I think the circumstances are very important surrounding it. Did you flee? That's a career-ending injury if you ran. Was there a hit and run?
Right.
That's career-ending. Again, the circumstances. If it was a dinner after work, a dinner and drinks with friends after work, not that it excuses it doesn't. But we've all been there, so I'm not throwing stones. We've all asked this question. God, I don't know. I had 3 over 2 hours. I don't know. Would I be over the limit? I might be, but I don't feel impaired. Not that that's
Yeah,
any-
well,
Yeah,
we don't know if he was borderline or
but
whatever.
we've all been there, and we've all, unless I'm speaking for myself. I have been close. I have made the decision. I'm okay, and I've driven. I'm throwing no stones. Now,
I'm here
I know
with
you haven't.
Yeah,
We've talked about this
I-
before.
it's-
If you're close,
I know I have. Like,
I thought you were told. Oh, okay.
no. Like,
Oh.
listen, man. Like, I'm gonna just be completely honest.
So we're
with you.
both devils, and
Come-
apparently Jason
no,
and
coming
Bull
out.
are both angels.
Because look, here,
I didn't say anything.
you know, when you coming out and you drink, I came right out of college and realized that, when you in college, it's right down the street. It's like
3 blocks.
Man, listen, I got pulled over by a state trooper, and this is just full disclosure. I always tell people, you either apologize now or you apologize later. So when I got an OVI coming out of college, and at that time, I was just scheduled to start working at 92 Through the Fan, and I was just sitting there thinking like, hey man, I done threw my whole career away, bro, and I didn't even started yet.
Wow.
So after that point, and I wasn't even doing nothing crazy. My buddy had came from out of town, and we were celebrating. I said I got to go to sleep because I was waking up at 5 in the morning. Anyway, they go to the bar, they get drunk, and they needed somebody to pick them up because they were just messed up. So I get up, I'm thinking I'm straight. I've been laying down for like 4 or 5 hours. I'm good.
Wow.
4 or 5 hours. So I go get them. I come back, and my lights wasn't on all the way. Like I had the parking lights. And then the state trooper pulled up, and I'm going to keep it real. Like, anytime you see them state trooper lights or any lights behind you and you didn't have any drinks, you thinking like, oh my Lord, what am I doing? What am I going to get? So, and he was cool because he didn't impound the car. He just told him to get out. And I was maybe a block away from my house.
Oh my God.
A block. I had to park the car. And so it was crazy to me. So from that, when you talk about learning from the experiences, I just be honest with you. I don't even, after that, I was like, nah, I'll never in my life again.
Yeah, that's a conversation I remember you and I had.
Yeah, ever. I will
Yeah.
never, like sometimes, if it's after 9 o'clock, I ain't going.
Don't do it, guys.
Every time you
Don't
drive
do it.
drunk, you put your life and the
Others.
lives of others at risk.
Others, yeah. It's not worth it. Don't do it. Call a friend, call a cab, call an Uber, call a Lyft. Just don't do it. All right, that's out of the way. It's Amari Cooper, guys. Yikes. Amari Cooper, we left here Friday. That wasn't on our radar.
He got hurt Friday.
He got hurt in Friday's practice. It's a groin. I've read different things. I've read minor, but also I think it was Adam Schefter used the word unexpected to play. I always thought it was not expected to play.
That was really weird.
Unexpected, I guess, could work. I think the preferred is not expected, but whatever. The preferred is that he plays. And I've also seen reports that because it's not so bad that he could go. So I don't know where we are on this.
Typically in situation, when Schefter's reporting that, it's coming most likely. I don't know who he's talking to, but most likely
high up.
It's his agent. Schefter's talking to the agent.
Yeah.
A lot of the other people are talking to the team. Of course, the team wants to keep the veil of secrecy of whether or not he's going to play or not, just for strategic purposes and for competitive advantage reasons. But I tend to lean Schefter on this because he's more than likely talking to Cooper's side of it.
Yeah.
And in which case, they're always going to err on the side of caution. You
Sure.
know? And so I don't expect him to play. I haven't talked to anyone, like full disclosure, I haven't talked to anyone, but I don't think
let's just for this
I
conversation.
think we got to assume he's not going to play.
No, I know it's tough,
Yeah.
but for the sake of this conversation,
Yeah.
because the most recent report was he's not expected to play, and as you said, that's coming from a guy who's one person removed from the player himself. What impact does it have on the Browns' game plan against Pittsburgh tonight if he doesn't play? Clearly, he's wide receiver 1.
Yeah, I mean, I think it obviously has an impact, just like the way Deontay Johnson has an impact for Pittsburgh.
Right.
The difference is that the Browns have a much better quarterback, and to me, this is like we've talked about. We need to see Deshaun Watson have his big game. I know you think he's gonna have a big game. I think he's gonna have a good game. You think he's gonna have a big game. But that's why you get a quarterback like Deshaun Watson. Because when you have a quarterback like Deshaun Watson, it shouldn't be a huge deal that Amari Cooper's out. It's a deal. It's certainly a deal. When you're missing your best wide receiver, it's a deal. But if you have the quarterback, it shouldn't be an overwhelming deal.
Right.
That's what I'm expecting to see. Hey, Donovan Peoples-Jones, be ready. Elijah Moore, be ready. Cedric Tillman, you're in the mix. You're the third receiver this week.
I actually thought David Bell was the first name I thought. I was like, okay,
well, maybe David. I don't know.
Here's your chance. Here's your chance, David Bell. Go make a play.
Wow, we saw one target last week right in his breadbasket.
And he dropped it. I know, but
those are hard to. I can't forget those.
I'm with you.
And I don't know that the quarterback. If I was the quarterback, I wouldn't be able to forget it either.
Especially when your hands are what's supposed to have gotten you in the league.
Catch the ball. You're a wide receiver.
Like, Anthony Schwartz, we knew drops were part of it. It was the speed that got him to the league. David Bell is supposed to be his hands.
Yeah.
So if he's dropping those, but it was one pass. I'm not going to give up on a guy because of one pass.
Do you think that he would be 3 tonight over Tillman?
Or is Marquise Goodwin the 3?
I think Marquise Goodwin. There's a package of plays for Marquise.
He's like not even. He's like just separate to the side.
Yeah, he's almost like different.
He's
you don't
the
want to call him a
specialist.
4, 5, or 6.
Right.
Does the situation call for it?
Yeah.
He's the one.
Yeah.
He's the only guy that can do what he does.
I would like to see Cedric Tillman as the 3, but I don't know.
I
if
agree
he's
with
gonna
you.
be. Yeah.
I mean, hopefully he can take that slot.
I think this means nothing.
Nothing.
That's
Wow.
hard, that's hard to say.
I like that.
Is there Kool-Aid in that shirt?
Yes, it is. It's all up
Now,
in
is
there.
it mixed in with it and it automatically goes into your pores?
It's like you
Right
ever
into the
see-
bloodstream.
you
It's
ever
like an
see-
IV.
It's like you ever seen Bane from Batman? How
Yeah.
he has the mask on,
Yeah.
where it gets nerve toxins. It's Kool-Aid in there. It just goes.
Yeah, I like that.
And it just goes in there.
I'm Kool-Aid.
Yeah, Kool-Aid. Don't you get me started on that.
Yeah,
Kool-Aid.
that could work, bro.
That could work. That
could work.
Hey, but I'll say this: the reason I say it really don't matter is because now it does matter, and if you want to, in the scheme of things, the big picture don't, because Deshaun Watson is going to spread anyway. We talked about it today. We talked about it yesterday or the last week. He's going to spread the football around. He's not looking for specifically one person. And if you go back to look at the Houston Texans, they didn't have really no really big name receivers. They had Brandon Cooks in a couple of years where he's throwing the football.
They had Hopkins for a couple of those years.
Hopkins
Yeah.
for a couple of those years, but he's traditionally going to throw the ball to a lot of different people, and this is an opportunity for people to step up. DPJ, he's capable. Elijah Moore is very capable. It just means to me that you got to get creative with Elijah Moore a little bit. You got to get him more touches now, because there's no excuse because Amari Cooper ain't here. David Njoku is supposed to be a guy who's.
I'm thinking about a big game for him tonight.
Yeah, big game for him. So for me, Deshaun Watson, and I like it a little bit because that means he even more dialed in. He knows he don't have his number one target. So in his mind, he's thinking, okay, I got to be much more crisp. I got to be on time with my stuff. I got to make sure I got a clock going off. I don't give up no unnecessary sack. So to me, I think it just motivates him a little more, and I still think he has a big game.
Jay?
I think either Njoku or sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Elijah Moore.
Thank you, Elijah Moore.
Yeah.
One of those two, I think, is in line for the bulk of the targets, I would
they
think,
become
coming
the
off
one.
of this. Yeah, they would become the one. I'm just looking at the trickle-down effect down the line of who's the guy that's going to emerge, and I kind of think it might be David Bell. It could be Tillman, but I think it might be David Bell. But, I mean, I'm not expecting David Bell to have 6 catches for 85 yards tonight, obviously.
Yeah, it's hard to, I think, like you, Bull, I don't think it's going to be one guy that replaces his production. Look, he had 3 catches for 37 yards last week. So it's not like you're going to look at that and say, oh, my God, where are they going to throw the ball?
Right.
He threw passes to 8 other guys. What I loved was he completed a pass to all 3 of his tight ends. Mm-hmm. That's telling. That means that the Browns and Watson have faith in all 3 of those guys being interchangeable. I think that's key. I also think that I want Tillman to be the guy just because physically he looks the part.
Yeah,
I want to.
And I think the pedigree is there, and I think that I think he is going to be a productive wide receiver in the NFL. Is this the game that he steps forward and shows that pedigree? I don't know. I want him to be the guy, so it's almost clouding my judgment. For me, I say Tillman over Bell because I can't forget the drop.
I want to go back and look at the snap counts from last week because I feel like Tillman wasn't on the field very much.
He was not on the field much. Yeah,
and
that's just I don't know what the number said, but by my memory, I don't remember seeing him out there a lot.
A handful of snaps at most.
Now, ordinarily, I'd say Marquise Goodwin is Patrick Peterson is a starter for the Steelers, right?
He is.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm having a hard time trying to figure out just how much removed Patrick Peterson is from Patrick Peterson, if you know what I mean.
Right.
Like, how far has his star fallen? I didn't watch them closely enough last week against San Francisco.
Yeah.
I don't know. He clearly can't be the same guy that he once was.
Right.
But he's experienced, and I think that's telling. But I think Marquise Goodwin, having Minka Fitzpatrick back there for the Steelers probably changes the Browns' thinking on just taking deep shots with Marquise Goodwin. We saw he was open twice last week. He got behind the defense. What that told the other 31 teams in the league, okay, this guy still has world-class speed. We can't forget about him. There may have been a little bit of write-off factor last week to Marquise Goodwin because a week before the season started, we all thought his career was over. So maybe perhaps opposing defenses did too. So I'm not sure that Goodwin will be a factor like he was last week. Not that he was a big factor, but he had a chance to score 2 touchdowns in that game if the ball was on target. So I think, again, yes, I do think that Deshaun Watson's going to have a good game. He completed, we remember all the short throws and the misses last week. He completed 55% of his passes in a game where the conditions were constantly wet. The ball was wet and heavy the entire game. So he wasn't awful. I think he's going to be markedly better tonight. He's going to continue to spread the ball around. I took my Browns point total down 3 because of this. So I don't think it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
I think there will be points in the game where we need to move the sticks,
Yeah.
where he would ordinarily look for Cooper. He won't be there. He's going to have to find someone else.
Here's an interesting stat, by the way. Let me give you a stat real quick, Mike. Amari Cooper traditionally is way better at home than on the road. They're on the road tonight, right? Even if you look specifically at last year, Amari Cooper in road games last year averaged 3 catches for 55 yards per game in road games. So he's not really been a factor on the road.
I like the 55-yard part.
I mean, that's not really that good.
No, it's not. But would you take 55 yards tonight against the Steelers?
Sure, but
as opposed to losing it?
In home games last year, he averaged 6 catches for close to 85 yards.
That's unusual because that was his first year.
God, it really is unusual. It's not like he's...
It's his whole career, though.
His whole career, he's been that way.
It's not just last year.
Odd.
Yeah.
It's been his whole career. I don't
Now,
know
what
why
about...
that is.
Okay, so maybe he loves the home crowd and the adulation. I wonder if there's a number for primetime games on Amari Cooper.
Sure there is.
Does he love to step up in the bright lights and when the crowd is... the national crowd is there. I don't know. Mikey, we threw 2 questions out, not sure on numbers, and you said you looked them up. What are they?
I got them, yeah. So snap counts last week. David Bell played 10 snaps. Marquise Goodwin played 10 snaps. Tillman played 11. So essentially all the
Tillman
same,
was
but
more.
Tillman did
I wouldn't have guessed that.
play an extra snap.
I feel like I only saw Tillman out there 2 or 3 times, but obviously I missed the
There
others.
was one point where I'm like, where's Tillman?
Yeah.
I just hadn't seen him.
And then for your Patrick Peterson, once again, PFF grades not everything.
No, right.
Last season was his highest coverage grade according to PFF ever. He had an 80.7 overall grade, an 82.5 coverage grade.
Okay, that's superb.
And the only other grade that was ever higher was in 2018 with Arizona by 0.2.
What was his grade in San Francisco last week?
63.
Okay.
One game sample, but not as good.
No, I know. He's got to worry about Deebo Samuel. He's got a lot of things to worry about with San Francisco.
And then for Amari Cooper, by the way, fascinating. 62 career home games, 64 career road games. So 2 more road games than home games. At home, he has 322 career catches. On the road, just 276. He has
Well,
1,200.
that's 50 fewer. Over 60 games, that's not even one catch a game less.
2 fewer games. He has 1,200 more yards at home in 2 fewer games than he does on the road.
Yeah.
And touchdowns, he has 34 touchdowns at home, 21 on the road.
He is though better at night. In night games, he's averaged almost 73 yards per game, which is better than 1 o'clock games.
And I imagine he's played a lot of primetime games because the Cowboys, it seems, are always playing with lights on.
He's played 29 primetime games in his career.
You know what? We tripped. We tripped bad. I
So
forgot
almost 2 seasons.
I forgot to say this. We didn't even mention the X factor.
Who's that?
It's that Nick Chubb. Like what I want to see in the pass game. One of the things that I haven't seen since about 2020 is the Browns screen game. If you go back and watch that year, the Browns screen game was prolific. There's a lot of runs and a lot of plays that Nick Chubb made with run after the catch because he has those linemen in front of him and he's a bowling ball and he has the speed to break it. If you go back and watch, just the other day I was rewatching the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Browns trying to get ready for it. It was the playoff game. And in 2020, the play that really sealed it because Pittsburgh was coming back.
Yeah.
The play that sealed it was a screen pass to Nick Chubb that he took to the house for about 40 yards. And I just haven't seen the screen game in a long time. I think he could be a really big part of that, especially if you got defensive ends that are getting upfield like TJ Watt that are aggressive. Those guys are going to be trying to get upfield against Jed Wills and DeJuan Jones.
TJ Watt has a number of times in his career when I've been playing him, been in heavy pass rush, and when the ball is released, immediately turns around, runs upfield, and makes the tackle because his motor never stops.
That's called.
So he is a guy that will double back and get you from the backside.
Yeah, so you got to switch it up. If he's on the right side, I'm calling. What I would do, you fake a tunnel screen that way because he's on that side of the field, and sneak the back out the other way on the opposite side of the field.
Make it so he's got further.
Make it so he has to do something. So to me, I think that'll be a big part of the game, and plus you can still lean on the run game as well. So I don't think it'd be that big of a deal.
We're not sure who it's going to be in terms of the number 3 tonight, but how confident are we? We'll break out our confidence meter 1 to 10. What's your confidence level in these receivers in this core minus Amari Cooper?
Are we pass catchers, like including Njoku, or just receivers?
Everybody. So in the passing game,
yeah.
If you were an 8 before with these guys, where were you before? Where are you today? How much does it dink your confidence meter?
I would say I probably was a 7.5 before.
Okay.
And now I'm a 6.
Oh, so it comes down that much?
6.5.
Okay.
We said all offseason if Amari Cooper goes down, what does this receiving core look like, right?
We did.
I mean,
we talked about that as a nightmare scenario.
Absolutely. Now, listen, this doesn't sound like this is the end of the world. If he does miss tonight, it's probably a one-game type thing, although they are on a short week. But the problem with groins is a lot like with the Burrow injury with the calf. They linger. Yeah, and it just takes one small tweak or one small move, as we saw in practice on Friday, and now he's laid up again. So while I certainly don't think this is anything catastrophic, I do think it's something we're going to have to watch throughout the year. So I'm kind of with Bull. I'm in that sort of 6 range. I think I was probably 7 before and probably a 6 now. I didn't overly love these guys to begin with as a whole, but when you lose your top dog, your number 1 guy, and you've got a lot of unproven guys behind him, yeah, of course it's going to
So if you're giving
erode your
man
confidence.
ratings before to the Browns receiving core, what was it then? What is it now?
And I had Amari Cooper probably like an 88. They had him on. He was a 90 on the game.
Right.
I say he about 88. Your second best receiver, I would probably say, is Elijah Moore, just because of his speed rating. So I think Elijah Moore is maybe at 81. DPJ is probably at 79 or 80.
So when you lose the biggest number from that group, your number's going to go down.
Yeah. So overall, the receiving core, I would say the receiving core is probably like a 74, 75 overall.
Now.
Yeah, now.
Yeah, I would have had before, I would have put it in the 75 to 77, not quite 80 range, mid to high 70s. Now I'd say it's low 70s. So I'm not dinking them 15 percentage points because they lost their number 1, but it's a big miss. Look, it's their number 1.
And it's more on Watson. It's more on Watson to make it easier for the other guys.
Well said. Like now he's got to be sharper.
Yeah.
He's got to be better. He's got to find his receivers. I love the next man up mentality. I mean, a lot of times coaches say next man up and they believe we're going to be okay. I think this is one of those situations. There are other times when they say next man up, and when you go from Aaron Rodgers to Zach Wilson, next man up, ain't gonna cut it.
I got these group of friends real quick. I know we'll talk a little bit about it later. But a group of friends that I've been playing fantasy football with forever. Most of them are friends from New York. Over the years, we've brought in a guy from Chicago and California.
Right.
But it's mostly guys from New York.
Jets fans
so there's a lot of Jets and Giants fans. And they're on there before the game like, Jets are still going to the playoffs. I'm like, you guys are crazy. Yeah. Now, one game doesn't prove the Jets are not going to the playoffs, but come on.
Neither does one game prove they are going.
No, sure.
There's a reason they brought Aaron Rodgers in the first place.
You're
right.
Now
they're right back where they are. And now they're right back where they were.
You can stand in front of the camera all week long and all you want say it's next man up.
Right.
But when you're alone with your face, when you're shaving in the morning, you're looking at the mirror going, oh, damn. I mean, this isn't actually a next man up scenario.
A few spots where that doesn't work.
Yeah, and I don't think this is one of them.
No,
I don't.
No.
I think the Browns have enough depth there where they can cover the base.
Y'all might think I'm crazy for this because this is uncharacteristic of me, but I've always been jealous and petty on certain things, right? So, back in the day when people used to give gym shoes, I used to make a note of it. I'm like, when I get older, I don't care who I marry, I'm buying all them gym shoes for what my mom did to me. She didn't let me have them. When I was watching games this week, for some reason in my mind, I kept counting how many quarterbacks was throwing for 3. I saw Daniel Jones put up 3-something.
Yeah.
I saw Baker put up 3-something. I seen Matt Stafford put up 3-something.
Jared Goff.
Jordan Love putting up 3-something. I said, hold on now.
Even Sam Howell had 299.
Love had like 150, didn't he? Love didn't play.
Commanders are 2-0.
The first game.
The first game.
Yeah, first game.
The first game.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting around looking like,
where's our 300?
I feel kind of. I want my 300 too. I want my. Let's
get it.
Let's hope Deshaun Watson wants those sneakers back.
Hey, bro, let's get this 300, man.
Yeah.
Like look, it's a perfect opportunity. It's right here in front of you. We know y'all want to smoke, and we know you got a better team. Yeah. But we need to start. I want to see them numbers rolling.
Mike, he mentioned Baker. I know we can talk about it later. Can we jump to it now and do the other things later, or no?
We can still talk about it later. What's your Baker thought now?
No, if you don't want me to, Mike, I'll hold
your Baker.
As soon as we mention Baker, we go off the rails. So let's save Baker till later.
We've developed a move the needle list on the show.
Baker still moves it.
Baker moves it, and you know what? Baker's probably always going to move it.
100%.
And he's playing well.
He is.
That's it. That's all I was.
But you know what? He knows he's playing well, and that's when he's always self-destructive.
That's right.
And he said something after the game last night where as soon as I saw it, I said, yeah, of course he said that.
All right, let's hold it. Let's hold it.
There we go.
We'll talk about that coming up. Also, I want to tease something really quick for the end of the show.
Yeah.
We know Bernie Kosar is, one of the more legendary Browns players in our lifetimes, for sure. He did a lot for this franchise. At the end of the show, a message from Bernie Kosar to Steelers fans that no one's going to want to miss. So I know as you're watching us, you might think, you know what, I got to get back to the gig at 12 o'clock. I'm taking an early lunch, or at 12:30, I got to check out because my boss is looking over my shoulder. I got to get back to work. You better put in an earpiece. You better keep listening to us because at around 12:55, we're going to give you a message from Bernie Kosar to all Steeler fans that will make Steelers fans and Browns fans go, whoa, what did he just say?
I like it.
Coming up at the
Plus,
end of
right
the show.
before that, we're going to have a Steeler fan on, and we're going to have a dueling trash talking with him.
That's right. Trash talk pregame.
Yeah.
We're going to have some fun with it.
We love that.
Before we do that, though, I do have to read a couple Super Chats here. Whenever we read Super Chats, Mike, you know who it's brought to us by. It's brought to us by our dear friends at PCC Airfoils. If you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is a leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC Airfoils at Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, and Minerva are hiring for all positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages, paid time off, and a signing bonus. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. We have 3 Super Chats to get to this morning. The first comes from Michael Ribovich. He says, Bull, the negative voices are always the loudest. I don't always agree with you, but I respect your opinions, and I do believe the majority of us do as well. Keep up the good work. Elf the haters. Next one comes from Mason Gowden.
Thanks,
Says, the Browns always seem to beat up on the Bengals, then go back to the same old Browns. Do you think we're being overhyped and overreactionary for what they typically do against Cincinnati. We'll get to that in one sec, but I want to read this last one first. Isaac Tolbert says the last time the Browns were favorites in Pittsburgh, they won 51-0. That was in 1989. Keep up the great work. Go Brownies.
Bud Carson's first game as head coach.
That's
if I
crazy.
recall.
I watched that game. Went back, watched that game this summer.
Oh, did you?
It was at Three Rivers.
Am I misremembering? Did Carson used to every once in a while sneak a heater on the sidelines?
I think a lot of guys did back in
I know.
those days.
I know. Way back, like in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. But in my mind, I don't know if he was like in the dugout of Old Municipal Stadium waiting to come out. But I have an image of Bud Carson ripping heat on the field.
Oh, that was the precursor for what's his name, Mike McDaniel. Remember last year?
Yeah.
Doing, what's
vaping.
it called? The vaping. Yeah.
You know, there's something about him. I don't want to get off track, but he's a genius, but he is annoying. I
like him.
I like him too.
Do you?
I really like him.
Did you guys see his
really
halftime
like him.
interview?
I did not.
He's just trying to be something so hard that it's just, I don't know. But I got to give him credit. He's a genius.
His playbook is, they be running tricks.
He's got motions and stuff that
The
no one
motion,
else in
the
the
motion
league
game
does.
last night was on point. The blocked extra or field goal by
We're gonna
Belichick
talk about that as
is going
well.
to change the game. It's going to change the game. I'd never seen that before, and they tried it again later on a very important field goal, and the Miami kicker saw him coming, and he pushed it the other way. It was a big miss at the time. Okay, next up.
Mr. Thornhill is back. They may not have Cooper tonight, and I say they, I mean the Browns, but they do have their high-paid addition to the secondary. Last week against Cincinnati, the Bengals secondary is pretty damn good without Juan Thornhill in the lineup. Rodney McLeod filled in. How much do you think Thornhill can add to this secondary that we already think is pretty damn good? Is there an element that he brings that they didn't have previously and wasn't shown against Cincinnati?
Guys?
Takeaways. He's shown to be a ball hawk. He's shown to be a guy that can take the football away. We saw it in the preseason. And I just think when you look at it, he's a guy that can make your night just even worse than it could be. You look at where Grant Delpit is, and Jim Schwartz said he's the best he's ever seen Grant Delpit play. And you bring Thornhill in, bringing that extra ability to take the football away, be around the line of scrimmage, and both of those guys are really interchangeable. You don't miss much when one guy's in coverage and one guy is down at the bottom at the top of the line of scrimmage. And the great thing about it is your secondary is now whole. Now, as good as they played before, think about what they're going to be when they get all those guys back. Yeah. Now they'll be able to stay in coverage a little longer, which is so scary because the defensive line is going to get home. It's just a matter of time with that.
You look at Thornhill, you talk about the turnovers. Forget even the preseason. In Kansas City, he played 52 games in Kansas City. He had 8 interceptions. He forced a fumble, and he recovered a fumble. So that's about a turnover every 5 games, which in this NFL is a lot for a defensive player, 1 every 5 games. He plays very aggressively. This system is very aggressive, so he's a good fit for this system. And, oh boy, you're playing against not a rookie quarterback, but a second-year quarterback who has been what? Turnover prone so far in his career.
Right.
So I think he has a good, what's his, I'm drawing a blank now on the guy from Philadelphia who played safety last week for the Browns. The veteran.
McLeod.
Yeah.
He's a good, solid player.
Played well.
And was great, and he played well. So I don't think it's a huge upgrade, but over the long course of a season, it will be because McLeod's older.
Sure.
And Thornhill's in the prime of his career, and is even better in what was a good secondary last week.
I think it's a significant upgrade over McLeod over the course of the season.
Yes.
He's more, to me, Grant Delpit is more run help and Juan Thornhill is more pass help.
Exactly.
That's right.
And so he's going to help in the pass coverage. The Steelers are without Deontay Johnson. They might be without George Pickens. Like, they're a mess.
Yeah.
Whoa, what happened with Pickens all of a sudden?
Pickens there was
Hamstring.
a report yesterday that I saw it yesterday.
He's
It came
questionable
earlier.
for tonight.
Yeah, hamstring.
Yeah.
Hamstring,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah,
They got no shot with that.
That's what I'm saying.
Pickens
Who's their
doesn't-
top receiver
if
after
Pickens
that?
doesn't suit up.
Oh, Allen Robinson.
We don't come home 2-0. It's really
Even
really
if
scary.
Pickens plays at this point,
Yeah.
obviously it's going to be
He's not 100%.
It's going to be bothering him.
What's the spread?
Fryermuth's
2.5,
banged up
3?
too. It
2.5.
was 2.5 last time I checked, yeah.
So no
Fryermuth is banged up.
No Cam Hayward, no Deontay Johnson. Pickens questionable. Even if he plays, the hamstring's going to slow him down. You would have to imagine.
Yeah.
So Juan Thornhill's going to play a role, but also the Steelers just being decimated.
And they don't have a good
Are
running
gonna play a
game.
role.
They just don't have a good running game. This idea, everybody just assumes the Steelers have a good running game. They don't.
'Cause
their
they-
offensive line's not
traditionally
good.
they do, but they don't
And
this
Najee
year.
Harris is just a guy.
Yeah.
He's just a guy back there. He's not special.
I think I think what he brings to this team that might have been missing, it's just that it's the winning edge, the winning attitude. There is a palpable feeling in the locker room of winning teams. When you walk in there, whether it's after practice, whether it's after a game or before a game, there's just a different feel to it. Mm-hmm. And I think because he has been a winner in Kansas City, he knows what that feeling is. He knows what leadership looks like. He provides leadership. I just think, I don't know how much of a dog he is. I don't know, in terms of that nasty edge that we want this defense to play with. I think that's still going to have to come from the upfront portion of the defense. But I think he brings a winning edge and the ball hawk skills.
Rodney McLeod's he's one too.
He's got
Philadelphia.
Two. Right.
But Thornhill, I think Thornhill is definitely a dog. I don't think there's any. To me, I think he's that type of player. He's a talker, and I think he's a guy who backs up his talk.
Yeah.
There's a reason why people are so excited about the Browns defense. We just got done talking about the offense. We didn't take into account that if you have a defense. I go mention the Dallas Cowboys. I watched them yesterday.
Wow, my God! He is unreal.
They have no.
He's at an MVP level right now. Defensive MVP.
The Cowboys. The Jets had no chance. It was one of those things where it was just like you was watching a pro team versus a JV high school team. It was like you're not gonna move the ball. And they knew it. Saleh knew it. He was just like, we ain't got nothing for this.
They ran the fake punt on 4th down, got the first down, and had to punt it again.
They got the one nice touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson. It was a long touchdown. They didn't move the ball at all besides that one play.
So
because they couldn't account for number 11. He was everywhere.
When you got defense like that, it changes what you talk about offense. You don't gotta score every play. You don't gotta throw the deep balls. It's such an advantage, especially in today's NFL, where defense is not known for your defense. The game's set up for offense. But now, if you got a defense and you got a secondary and guys like, what's his name? I can't even think. He was so good, doggone it good yesterday.
Michael Parsons.
Michael Parsons.
But you got Michael Parsons. It's like, bro, you feel bad for him.
And they move him around too.
I'll give you a quick baseball analogy, Bull. Let's say you're playing a game against a Cy Young caliber pitcher. All 9 on the other team are gripping. They're all they know. Yeah. But not only is that the case, but the pitcher that's opposing him is gripping because every pitch is a leverage
pressure on
pitch.
him. Yeah.
I give up one run, I can take the L.
No, that's
and
right.
I think with Thornhill out there, here's what I'm hoping for. Do what San Francisco did. That's the perfect blueprint to how to beat the Steelers in Pittsburgh. They hit him in the mouth so fast that the crowd was not a factor at all. It was one of the few games I can ever remember watching where I kept waiting for a point in the game where, okay, now the crowd's going to come back. They didn't. They never showed up because it was such a, wide margin early, and they never made a point because the Steelers never gave them a chance. Get up on them early, and if you force them to throw, Thornhill becomes an even bigger factor.
Right. Well, if you make the Steelers one-dimensional with a quarterback that's prone to turnovers,
then you're going to get 3 picks.
That's
how that happens.
By the way, I don't know if anybody saw this. I just happened to catch this. I think it was this morning. I happened to catch it, but it was on Friday. Did anybody see Jordan Palmer? He played in the NFL. He's Carson Palmer's brother.
Yeah.
He's a quarterback.
I saw that.
You saw that. He was on Colin Cowherd. I'm not a big Colin Cowherd fan, but I saw the clip. Jordan Palmer was on, and Colin Cowherd was asking about why Joe Burrow struggled last week. And he said, well, the weather and the injury. But he goes, I'm telling you something. He goes, by the middle of this season, we will be talking about the Browns defense like we're talking about the Cowboys defense. They are legit, elite. They're going to be great. Now, it's just one opinion, but the guy played in the league. Right. He coaches quarterbacks. I mean, he's got a feel for what's
Is there
going
any
on.
reason of concern for the injury? We saw him using the Theragun on his calf.
Oh, you're talking about for Burrow?
For Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a big deal.
I think it's a very big deal.
He had a setback on the injury. It's going to be a problem the whole season.
And that's one of those injuries. Yeah. It's almost like a
hamstring. I don't even know if he's going to play this week. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating.
Who do they play?
The Rams.
Boy, you slipped to 0-3, and that hole gets deep.
Yeah,
fast.
In this division?
Last year they started 1-2, didn't they?
They started 0-2.
0-2, but
and 2-3.
And 2-3.
And they started 0-3 in the division. They still won it.
Yeah.
But
you don't want to do that again.
Joe Burrow wasn't hurt at that point.
Yeah, the degree of difficulty goes up dramatically.
Oh, yeah, if he's hurt and he misses games, they're finished. Yeah. It's over already.
It's going to be tough.
Hey, real quick, we're going to make this next topic a one question answer and response from you guys before we get to our Joel Bitonio game. But Browns and Steelers both had an extra day of rest, extra day of preparation. They're playing Monday Night Football. Who do you think that extra day benefits more, the Steelers or the Browns? Real quick around the horn.
Does anybody have strong thoughts on that? I didn't.
I'm neutral.
If I had to say, I'd say it benefits the Steelers by the littlest bit.
I did too.
Only because they played the Niners last week, who are the most physical team in football.
Yeah, and then we gave a stat last week that the
teams
that played the Niners the week before
always lose.
Were 0-16 last year.
So I'll say the Steelers, but
that's why I said the Steelers. But also, I
the
think
smallest percentage.
If I had to give a coaching edge, I'm giving it to Pittsburgh. I don't think anybody can kill me for that.
No, of course.
And I always think that the extra day always benefits the team with the better coach. It just gives them one more day to game plan, one more day to dive into film.
I would argue that the Browns have the edge at coordinators. Well,
they definitely have the edge at offensive coordinator.
Well, Mike Tomlin, the head coach, I give an edge over Kevin Stefanski, the head coach. But if you look at the
Canada
coordinator
versus Van
matchup,
Pelt / Stefanski.
Well, it's Canada versus Jim Schwartz, which is
you're going offense, defense.
Yeah, to me that's a massive advantage for Schwartz. And then Kevin Stefanski against Terrell Austin. I'll say that's pretty even.
Yeah.
Terrell Austin's a good DC, but
I might even give a slight edge to Stefanski.
I would give the edge to Stefanski.
Even if you say even, it's still an edge overall at coordinator.
Okay.
Jim Schwartz against Canada couldn't be a bigger mismatch.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
Yeah.
It's glaring. We talked about Canada last week and how the Steelers basically, according to Aditi, brought him back because
they don't like to fire people.
Roonies don't like to pay coaches that aren't working for them. Wow.
It is amazing that the Steelers have had 3 coaches my entire life, and I'm 52 years. I think they've had 4 in your life.
I understand that, but that's the head coach. Like when it comes to coordinators, how is it that the Roonies can be the last one to know what everybody else has already figured out on Canada?
Let's hope they never figure it out.
Yeah, keep bringing them back. Come on.
Matt Canada's a great OC.
The notion that they would but they would sacrifice another season because they don't want a coach to draw a paycheck from them and he's not working for them.
Now I want to know Canada's contract.
What's left
on his contract?
It's
how many years?
Probably 7 figures, but low 7 figures.
Yeah.
Like $1.5 million.
How rich are the Roonies? Would they can't afford it?
To me, we talked about the Browns at one point were paying 6 different head coaches $49 million in the same season.
I hope they move to Tampa Bay. They can move to Sarasota. I don't know. I don't like the Steelers. I want them to make bad decisions up and down.
I mean, they don't normally make them. This one's a glaring one.
But they've made more in recent years, which is good to see.
Yeah, we like that. All right.
This is Canada's final year of his contract.
Okay,
There's no number out there.
Yeah, it's hard to get
those numbers
it's
for
hard to
coordinators.
Which is weird because we know every detail of a player's contract, the buyout, but coaches are...
It's different with
agents. Agents don't like to do it. And for whatever reason, it's kind of the unwritten rule in the business that you find out.
In all sports. You don't usually find out about that.
Now, boys, just calm down. We're going to be accused of being happy someone's losing their job.
Oh, yeah.
We might want to.
We don't advocate anyone losing their job.
We're going to get canceled for that.
In this case, we're glad he kept his job.
Absolutely.
And we actually are endorsing a lifetime contract.
Yeah,
I would co-sign that.
Give him an extension.
You want to pay me 7 figures, you can fire me anytime you want.
That's exactly.
Anytime
as long as it's guaranteed money, I don't care.
Yep.
There's no kind of money like free money.
Who's the LSU coach?
I always, Jason, I'm going to say my dream job is a fired SEC football coach. That is my dream job.
Yeah.
Fire me as an SEC football coach. All right, before we get to our little game today, a new thing we're trying, I do want to tell the people out there that if you do not own a pair of Bird Dogs, what are you waiting for? I'm actually wearing my Bird Dog sweatpants right now. They are the best casual and athletic. They could do either sports apparel brand out there. Bird Dogs, a big fan of UCSS. UCSS loves Bird Dogs as well. Check them out at birddogs.com. All right, guys. Joel Bitonio is set to make his 100th consecutive start tonight for the Cleveland Browns. So let's give a round of applause real quick for our guy, our All-Pro, Joel Bitonio, the epitome of consistency.
Poor man's Joe Thomas.
Yep.
Still pretty wealthy. That's still a pretty rich man.
Poor man is all relative, right?
So I came up with a little game here. This is not his career 100th start. This is his 100th consecutive start.
Right.
I'm not going to tell you exactly when the streak started. I need you to do that mental math for yourself. But I'm going to give you something that happened. I need you to tell me if it happened before his consecutive streak started or after. And you have your
Is that why
whiteboards. We
have
got
the
7
boards?
of these.
So what? The correct answer throughout this will be before or after?
Before or after.
Okay.
Similar thing to true and false, but we're going to do before or after.
on
And this
these
is all
games.
based
Yeah,
on
these are tough.
I'm just going to pick before every time.
when Batonio's
Got a 50-50
consecutive
chance.
start streak began. Are you guys ready to play? Before or after Joel Batonio's
Do we have music? It
consecutive
seems like
start
this needs
streak?
some sort of
Mike,
circus music.
hit the music.
Oh, it's
Number 1. Did this happen before or after Batonio's consecutive streak began? Tua, Jalen Hurts, and Mac Jones were all in Alabama's quarterback room together. Was that before or after the streak began? Jason says before.
He's tipped his hand. He's going to say before for everything.
I wrote before.
Two
before you read the
befores, 2
question.
afters, which means 2 of you guys will be right. The answer, it is before.
What? That.
It is before. Yes, sir, Bull. Mac Jones redshirted a year before he ever.
What year
suited
was
up.
that they were together?
Maybe fit 16?
2017.
17. Okay.
What? That's kind of
Oh.
corny.
Oh, that's cheesy.
By the way, that's
All
a hell
right.
of a quarterback room.
Not too shabby.
Wait a second.
They were there before Batonio's streak started. I could give you the exact dates if you want, but I'm not going to give you the exact date of Batonio's start because that would ruin the rest of the game.
Yep.
Question number 2.
I think your math's wrong.
No, it's not. I can give
No,
you the
it's
exact
not.
dates.
I was right. You're wrong.
Take your medicine, Bull.
Zeke Elliott. That's Jordan Elliott. That's supposed to be Jordan Howard. I sent that to Anthony wrong. And DeMarco Murray finished the season 1, 2, and 3 in the NFL in rushing yards.
It's supposed to be who?
What?
It's supposed to be Jordan Howard, not Jordan Elliott. That's Zeke Elliott. I just combined the
And-
two names into one.
And DeMarco Murray?
Yes, finished 1, 2, 3 in the NFL in rushing yards. Jordan Elliott, obviously not the right name there. Jordan Howard.
Man, Jordan Howard was good for like 2 years.
I got to do some math here. Hold on.
G. Bush says after. Jason says before. Jay's deep into math.
Carry the one.
Man, I'm going to change
After.
I'm going to change my
I'm gonna
after
change
doing
mine.
math. I'm going to
I'm
change,
gonna change
my
mine
answer.
because Zeke came out and he did it in his rookie year, and he 14 they won the championship, so that's before. And DeMarco
2
Murray,
befores, 2 afters, and the answer is before.
There you go.
See,
It
And
did happen
because
before.
I
DeMarco
think your math might be wrong.
DeMarco Murray
No, I can
left,
tell you that
left
was the
the
20,
Cowboys
well,
to the
I can't tell you
Eagles.
what I'll tell you all the answers of the exact dates after.
I know, but we're going back to before the streak started or after the streak started, right? Is that
Correct.
the line?
That was a whole season before the streak started, I can assure you.
Yeah, just hold on 1 second here. You guys talk about something important.
All right. Yeah, it was 2016 the streak started, the end of 2016.
No.
No?
No.
For the start of the 2017 season?
Yeah, your math is definitely wrong.
No.
If you go back 100 games, it takes you
Are
into
you
the
including the
2015
playoffs?
season.
Are you including the playoffs?
No, his 100 consecutive regular season starts
Right, it
goes
takes
back,
you back to
September
2014.
10th, 2017,
No,
Jay.
you're
Your math's
wrong, Jay.
way off.
You're way off.
Oh, no, wait, I forgot 22. Hold on.
His first start of this streak was September 10th, 2017.
Yeah, that's including the playoffs.
September
No.
10th, 2017.
I don't think it does include the playoffs.
It has to, because there's only been 98 regular season games since the start of the 2017 season.
Well, no, because it counts tonight. It counts tonight, not the playoffs.
Yeah, today would be the 98th regular season game.
No, because there's 2 17-game seasons.
Mike's right. You're wrong. Move on.
I'm telling you, I'm right. I have the exact dates for all of this. Trust me.
Okay.
I double-checked with the Browns.
Yeah, you're right. I left the season
Right, there were
off.
2
Can we cut that? Mark that time
Yeah,
down when
write
Jay
that
said,
down.
"Yeah, I'm right." Please, let's cut
All
that.
right, you're
for
right.
social
I thought it
I
was
know, because
Go
so
ahead.
often. So
Just
the
so you
reason I'm
guys know.
double checking him on mistakes, he's made a lot of them when it comes to these games. That's why I'm double checking.
I mean, we had 13 wrong names on that last graphic. I don't know what happened.
But
so,
that is fair.
Excuse me for thinking you
That
might
is-
be wrong.
That is fair.
But I'm 2-0. That's all that matters.
Okay,
Move
so
on.
for the
You're
record,
the only one 2-0.
That's right.
his start of the streak started September 10th, 2017.
Yes.
So that is the date. I didn't want to give you the date, but that is the date we are going off.
Yeah.
Okay, next up. Tony Romo played his final season with the Cowboys. Was that before or after the streak started? Jason staying consistent with before.
So it's basically he played a game. He played his last game. Let's say that.
After
Before
September
or
10th
after?
of 17.
Gosh, how long has Romo been out of the game?
Bull says after. Before for Jay.
I actually think it's after, but I have to stay consistent to the
See,
stick.
I'm just trying to think. Did he play in 2017 or not? That gives you the answer. 17 was either his last season in or his first
I
season
can't believe
out.
he's been in the booth for 5 years already.
G, what do you
6
think?
years.
Yeah, remember when he came in? He was like predicting all the plays.
Yeah.
And then,
After.
you know what? It is going to be after.
By the way,
It
this
is going to be after.
I think it is after.
Yeah, it is after. I'm changing my
No,
answer.
it's before.
It
Yes!
It is. 2016 was his final
By the way,
season.
this whole streak is fraudulent because he missed that playoff game against the Chiefs.
That is true.
Yeah, but I think we're talking regular season.
It's still,
So yeah.
that's lame though. He hasn't played I don't know. Anyway.
Well, for records and stuff like that for the regular season, the postseason
Yeah,
doesn't count.
it's true.
Bull, this next one's for you. Chris Davis led Major League Baseball in home runs with 48. Did that happen before or after Batonio's streak began?
Now that's the A's Chris Davis because the A's Chris Davis was KH.
Yes.
The Orioles
And
Chris
so
Davis
that's
is
either
CH.
going to. So
How good is Bull's baseball almanac? What year did Chris Davis lead the major leagues in home runs?
before
After
I was going to say 16.
Bull, do you know what year it was?
that he let Chris Davis led the league in home runs. I think it was 2018.
Bull's right.
Wow.
It was after. 2018 is when Chris Davis
God, now
led
it's
Major
so funny
League
how
Baseball in
certain
home
things
runs.
seem so much further away than they really are,
Yeah.
and other things it's exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
I can do if this was music videos, I'd get all these right, but it's not.
But there's
Well, gee,
there are no more
the
music
next
videos,
one is.
really.
The next one's music.
How about
related.
this? Uptown Funk by Mark Ronson and Bruno Mars was the #1 song in
Uptown
America.
Funk, come give it to him.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me do the math.
Don't sing any more words, Bill. That was our 3 seconds of copyright
We're allowed
free
7.
use. Yeah, we're out of time.
We're allowed 7 seconds.
Oh, this is easy.
Jason's being true to his strategy was very smart.
Before, after. If it's after, Jay's right. If it's before, everyone else is. It's 2015.
Wow.
That was
My
2015.
my timeline machine's busted.
We have 2 more, guys. What's the score update, Anthony, through 5 questions?
Jason has 4, G has 3, Bull has 2, and Jay has 1.
1, 2, 3, 4. I love
That's
it.
crazy.
I love your strat. He's already got his answer up.
I haven't changed it.
All right, next one. Kawhi Leonard. Nope, Tiger Woods, excuse me. Won his most recent Masters tournament. Was that before or after?
Yeah. Do I stay with the shtick or do I go with the right answer? Because this is definitely after.
Yeah, get it right. Get it right.
No, he get.
No, I'm
he
sticking
said-
with
he
it.
said-
I'll take the L.
All right.
All right,
It's after.
It is after. Jason takes the L.
Can we
That
have
was
more golf questions?
2018.
I love the-
It was
I'll deal with golf
2018, right?
questions.
It was 2018,
All right,
yes.
yep.
And we have one more. Anthony, what is the score heading into our final question?
Jason with 4, G with 4, Bull with 3, and Jay with 2.
Make this last one worth 3, and we've got.
And
some
I will
drama.
have a bonus. If we tie, I do have a bonus. Kawhi Leonard was traded to the Toronto Raptors. Did that happen before or after Joel Batonio's consecutive streak of 100
All right,
starts
I'm playing to
began?
win.
Yeah, you got it. I mean, especially that one.
Yeah.
G says after.
I mean,
Jay
that
says
that one was
after.
easy.
Yeah. I changed my answer.
Bull's doing something comedic.
No.
No, he's just changing.
Before. It is after.
Ah.
Which means
I thought so, but I had to have a different answer
Well,
than
at
these
least I
guys. So I
tied
might
with
as well
Bull.
take a chance.
Thanks, Bull. That was a gift. Thank you. He
You
felt
got it
sorry
right, yes.
for me.
We have a tie between G and Jason at 5.
All right.
okay, so here is the tiebreaker question. I only have one. If we don't have
Go
this,
with before.
it comes down. His first start, and Joe Batonio's first start, came on September 10th, 2017 versus the Steelers. Who led that game in passing yards?
Before.
Oh, wow. Get right before.
Before. Mr.
Yeah.
Before.
You said what? You
Kevin
said,
before.
Who
said-
led that game in passing yards?
What was
Joe
the date?
It was September 10th, 2017. Who? And I have a second part to this if you guys
It could
tie
be
this.
one of 20 guys.
Who
Well,
led
or it could be
that
Ro-
game
it
in
could be
passing yards?
Roethlisberger, too. Not necessarily for the Browns, right? Who led the?
Just who led the game in passing yards?
Okay.
September 10th, 2017.
I know it.
Was
Correct.
that the year that Roethlisberger? No, that was earlier.
That would have been. I was covering the NBA.
It's a trick question. I mean,
I know. I was covering the NBA. 17, 18. So it was the year before the Baker draft. Who did they open with in 2017? I have no freaking clue.
I got their heads spinning in circles here.
20.
Go
That had
for it.
Stumped them.
I can't remember.
I mean, that doesn't matter for us, Bull. I think it's just.
I just want to guess, even though I think I'm wrong. Look at it. Jason and I had the same answer.
Too. That's who I was
Deshaun Kaiser,
Gee.
Deshaun
It has
Kaiser,
to be
Deshaun
Sean
Kaiser.
Kaiser.
Or was he made the starter later?
No,
Deshaun
Deshaun
Kaiser
Kaiser did lead the Browns in passing.
Yeah, I
He did not
knew
lead
it.
the game.
So
It
we had the
was
backup Steelers.
Who did they play? Who did they
Charlie
Ben
Batch?
Roethlisberger.
But
Oh,
he,
it was
but-
Roethlisberger.
It was
who
Roethlisberger.
asked that? He said not necessarily. It doesn't have to be the Browns.
Yeah.
And he said, who led the game?
Man, that was
Okay, well then here's the second part of the question.
This is the game that'll never end.
What was the final score? Can you remember
Roethlisberger was the
final
leading
score of that
passer.
game? September 10th,
Go your
2017.
average- You go your average Browns.
Man, Deshaun Kaiser was out of the league like 2 years later.
I may be high on this.
Pittsburgh won.
And whoever's closest in terms of the point differential will be our champion today, G. I'm essentially asking G because I see Jason scored. Jason
Gee,
picked
you've
31,
watched this game
27.
11 times on the YouTube time machine. Think.
I'm thinking.
Was it a field goal game or was it a more lopsided victory for the Steelers?
I mean, it was Deshaun Kaiser.
You know what? I was at this game. I took my son to this game.
How did
I
you
was
think it
at
ended?
this game.
Okay,
How do you think it ended, Jason?
Oh, man, it was close. It was close.
Oh.
It was 21-18. Jason, for maybe the first time ever, has won a game. Jason has won a game. He won something.
happened to the
Congratulations, Jason Lloyd, for the
can't
first
believe it.
time
I can't believe-
in 16 months.
Second time.
Jason
Second time.
Lloyd has won a UCSS game.
Just go
Never
with
won a
before.
fan
What do we
vote.
think about that game,
But he
guys?
won a game.
Did we like it before?
I loved it. I thought it was
Everything,
great.
everything
Best
in my
game we've
mind.
ever played.
You
Everything
won.
in my mind kept thinking of 2018 when they tied. Did they play the first game of the season and
Yeah,
it was
against the
raining
Steelers
and it
and
was
tied.
and it was a tie?
That was 2018.
That was the
2018.
next year.
That was
and so I
2018.
couldn't remember what the hell would happen in 2017.
No, I was at that game. I took my son to that. I took Alexander to that 2017, my
better have
oldest.
won then.
And it was a good game. I remember it was close and like walking out going, all right, maybe they're not going to be so bad after all. Yeah, whoops.
They went 0-16 that
They
year.
went 0-16.
Damn.
Those were good times.
He's been a starter for a long time.
Led to a
100
parade.
consecutive games. And
All right.
shout out to Matt.
Again, I disagree with the credibility of that, and I love Joel Bitonio, but although he missed that game because of COVID, I think.
Yeah.
That playoff game.
He did.
Yeah.
Not due to injury.
It's-
and Kevin
it's-
Stefanski missed that game, of course, too.
It's kind of miraculous they won that game.
It really is.
Well, let's remember, the Steelers
It was
were
14-0 before Kevin was settled in
Yeah.
on his couch.
At one play, it was 7-0.
Yeah.
And remember, at the end of that season, the Steelers had completely cratered. At
You
the
know
end
what
of the
though?
year.
I'll say this, and we're going to talk about Baker later. Like, I think it's so funny how the fan base operates. We were not diminishing that win in the moment.
No.
It was a Steelers win at Pittsburgh in the playoffs.
Yeah, no.
We were celebrating like it was a trip to the Super Bowl.
No, I remember-
But boy, has that win lost a lot of its shine
No, you know,
in time.
I remember when in real time. I think actually it was 7-0 before I turned on. Actually, like
Yeah.
I
Right.
sat down, it was 7-0
Well,
already. I was
wasn't
like,
the story that Kevin was watching it streaming in the basement and he heard his family going nuts upstairs
Before he-
and he knew that something big happened before it happened, just
That's
on the
funny.
reaction.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
go ahead.
I think it is. Well, when you look at the game, they had 5 or 6 turnovers. So a lot of people, like when you is able to go
But
back.
those count.
Yeah, a lot of people went back and nitpicked it because they're like, well,
I'm not nitpicking anything. It's a playoff
No,
win against your
I-
arch rival in their
Right.
building.
I'll give them credit for it.
And who was their quarterback?
Well, Jay,
like, it counts.
in fairness, you're arguing that this second game of the season is more important than a game you diminished for Deshaun Watson.
That's a Texans playoff game. That means nothing to me. I
means
don't care
nothing
about
to
that.
you, but it meant something to him.
I don't care anything. And by the way, it wasn't against their arch rival on the road. I mean, this was a big
Was
big
it?
deal.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
just guessing.
it's a playoff game.
I'm just,
same
I'm
as
just
this.
throwing that out
the
there.
bottom line, of course, it was a good win because the Browns hadn't won a playoff game in forever. But the facts are that the Steelers were cratering at the end of that season. That is true.
They're a playoff team that hosted a playoff game.
I mean, I'm just stating the fact that the Steelers were falling apart.
I'll state a fact. They were hosting a playoff game.
They were. And I vividly remember watching that going, the Steelers are handing it to them. Now, of course, you're not going to nitpick
You know what, though? There was a moment where we were all, I mean, even when it was a big lead, we were all like, uh-oh, here they come.
Well, you're not going to nitpick a playoff win, especially with this franchise.
Never, ever.
Like, I think you can objectively, in the moment, I remember looking at it going, well, Pittsburgh really sort of handed it to them. But so what? Like, you still take it.
A lot of times
gladly take it and put it in your bag and run.
A lot of times one team will give another team breaks and they don't capitalize on them. The Browns made a lot of their own breaks and they took advantage of it.
They did.
So,
they did. And
I don't let anybody knock shine off of that win for me. No, it was a playoff win and it counts.
It could still count, and you could still admit that the Steelers. What was amazing about that year is, if you remember, the Steelers started 11-0 that year.
I remember.
They were 11-0, and then they lost 4 of their last 5 games in the regular season.
They were nosediving.
They had just. It was like, we couldn't believe it. It seemed like Roethlisberger had found it again, and then at the end of the year, he fell apart.
You know what, though? I also remember when they were 11-0. I'm like, once again, this is the luckiest team in football. They should not have been 11-0.
I think we all at 11-0 felt like that was not a real 11-0 team.
Gold.
Yeah,
but they were a good team.
But you still get credit for it. It's sort of the same thing as.
Of course, they get credit for it.
No, I'm saying it's the same thing as the Browns' playoff win. You look at it and you go, well, I don't know if they're really 11-0, but they're 11-0, so you get credit for it.
Well, also, I think even though that they had to see a backup quarterback for much of the second half, the Browns went to Kansas City and could have beaten the Chiefs.
Could have don't mean anything.
This is
It matters. They didn't lose 34-3. They lost on a game where a touchdown was wiped off because one of our players fumbled the ball into the end zone.
In the end, Patrick Mahomes not playing makes a big difference.
It does. You got to mention that, and I did.
Yeah.
But all of that being said, this is a Kansas City team that was a Super Bowl caliber team.
But they weren't. Not with the quarterback that was playing.
I don't care about 3 years ago. I care about this horrible water.
You guys brought it up.
How long do we have to go with recycled urine water until we get fresh water?
What's the brand on that?
Are we allowed to
Crystal
say?
Yeah, Crystal Guy. It's the same water we've had since we started.
Here's what I maintain. Do you know that per gallon, that water costs about $10 a gallon? And we complain about the cost of gas, right?
I don't complain about the cost of gas.
A lot of people do.
I mean,
right now it's the number one consumer complaint in
absurd.
America.
Gas prices go up and down. It's ridiculous.
Right, but I'm just saying, to get a gallon of gas, you've got to drill 2 miles into the earth. You've got to pump crude. You've got to ship it. You've got to refine it. You've got to ship it again. And we pay $3.50 a gallon for it. That, if you figure it out, cost per gallon is probably $6 a gallon. That's cheap. And I guarantee you that's tap water.
It's disgusting.
How would anybody ever know? If you want to start a business, and I know you always do, just go buy a whole bunch of water bottles and a labeling factory and just pour tap water into that. That tastes like tap water to me.
Oh, it tastes worse.
Tap water's better than that.
Oh, yeah. Tap water's far better.
That water, I've only had 1 or 2 bottles the whole time we've done the show.
I'm going to buy a case of water, I guess, and bring it in, because I'm not drinking this anymore.
But it leaves an aftertaste in your mouth.
It's disgusting. It's gross.
I don't know what kind it is, but I'm telling you, the tap water I've had is better.
All right, we are going to get to our next thing. But first, if you are out there watching the show today, we have monster numbers. We appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, hit that like button. And tonight, G. Bush is doing a pregame barbershop at 6 at the 2-minute warning of the Monday Night Football contest between the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers. G. Bush, Earl the Pearl, and myself will be going live on our postgame show on the UCSS channel, so make sure you tap in for that. We'll be going for about an hour on everything that needs to be discussed and broken down from what we hope is a Monday Night Football beatdown over the Steelers. And with that, guys, we're going to do something we've never done on UCSS before.
Wow.
It's not groundbreaking, but we haven't done it, so it'll be new for us.
All right.
I figured with tonight's Monday Night Football game, let's do a draft of the 10 best players in tonight's game to see which side has the top-tier talent advantage and how big of a disparity it is between
Are we all
Team
drafting
A and
our
Team
own
B.
teams? Or?
We're going to agree and draft as a group. So if you guys have a 2-2 split on the panel, you'll come to production to decide which player goes.
Oh, I see. So we're only
in
drafting
the first
one
spot.
team.
We're drafting 10 players total as a collective group.
I got you.
And it is based on tonight. It is the 10 best players for tonight. This has nothing to do with past production. Amari Cooper, unlikely to play. Probably not going to be on this top 10 list, even though he most likely would be if this was a season outlook draft. So for tonight, who are the 10 best players?
We have to take Johnson off. We have to take Hayward off.
Yep, exactly. Those guys not eligible.
Okay.
So with
Are
that
we
in
doing
mind,
this as if we're drafting a team to win a game?
these are the 10 best players in
10
tonight's
best
game.
players.
Yeah,
But does
so
position
regardless
matter?
of position, like
No,
we
position
can't win
doesn't
without a
matter.
quarterback.
No.
Do we have to take a quarterback?
No.
So
No.
if a quarterback isn't
Nope.
in your top 10 for both sides, don't put him in there.
Nope, exactly.
And I don't think I'd have a quarterback in my top 10.
I
I would at the bottom.
Yeah.
At the
So
bottom.
we're going to start at number 1 and work our way down to number 10. So, guys, with the first pick in the
that's
Steelers-Browns
easy.
draft,
Is it
who we
is it
taking?
Myles Garrett?
Easy.
See, for me, it's Nick Chubb.
I was going to say Chubb.
Oh,
Chubb
so
or
we got
Miles.
a tie.
Chubb
We got
or
a tie,
Miles.
right? Because I have
could go
Chubb
either
number
way.
2. I have Myles Garrett number 1.
I got Myles Garrett number 1.
Because I
Well,
look
all
at
right.
it.
So you got Miles ahead of Watt, huh?
I do. Of
course.
Yes, I do.
I got Chubb ahead of both.
I would put Miles ahead of Watt by that much.
But I have Chubb 1.
So do
Okay,
we
so
have,
you guys have to break the tie
so we
right out
had
of
2
the
Chubb votes, 2 Miles votes to number 1. We just talked as a production group. We have Myles Garrett as our number 1
Interesting. The
selection.
behind-the-scenes group is wrong to start
So
things
good
off.
job out of you. That's a great pick.
That's
I really
piss
like
poor.
that.
Way to be very smart.
That's piss poor.
Myles Garrett, we've
No
already,
way Myles Garrett is better than
Let
Nick
me ask
Chubb.
this.
We've
Let me-
al-
you
we've
know what?
already decided.
Not that this is going to answer this question, but let me
Yeah.
ask this: if both players today, before the game,
Already know it.
did a news conference and said, "It's a wrap, I'm walking," which one's more likely to get to Canton?
Nick Chubb.
Wow,
No.
I don't think so.
Right
either.
now-
I'd say it's Myles Garrett.
Right now?
yeah.
Neither.
No,
well,
neither
I know.
would get
I said
in.
which
yes.
one's more likely. So it's
Well,
not,
neither.
Well, it's, one of them has to be more than the other.
Yes, I think it's Nick Chubb.
If it was Amari Cooper and Deontay Johnson, one of them, neither one probably will make it. But
I think it's hard for a defensive player to get in without having harder to.
I think that defensive player
ever
has
winning
to be
player
head
of the
and
year.
shoulders one of the top 5 defensive players in the game
He's
for
been-
all of his years.
He's been consistent.
And he's in there. I can't say Nick Chubb is one of the top 5 offensive players in the game for all of his career. If I go specific to his position, I can do that.
and he's already all-time leading sack leader. Like he has
For the Browns, that doesn't.
I mean, it is sure.
You know what's hysterical? We are arguing Chubb, and the 20 carries mandatory guys over
Yeah,
here
I
are
know.
arguing
Well,
Miles.
they're not mutually exclusive.
and we're the ones saying Nick Chubb may not be back on the team next year, and we're still taking Nick Chubb, and they're the ones
Yeah,
screaming,
it
he
is.
better
It is
be,
funny.
and they're insisting Miles.
Miles-
I think this was
funny.
easy. I really didn't think this one was hard at all.
I agree. It wasn't hard. It was
Okay.
definitely Nick Chubb.
Let me ask you this.
if you put him on the
This is
trade-
going to end the argument. I
If
don't
you put him
know.
on a trade block, who's getting more?
Well, no, that's not
That's
fair.
an unfair-
That's not fair because
Well, then
position
Deshaun
matters.
Watson should be number 1 based on that.
So let me ask you this, and I don't know the answer to this.
Who'd you rather have as
The
a
NFL,
teammate?
did the
Nick
NFL
Chubb every day of the
rank
week.
they usually rank the top 100 players every year coming into the season. Did
Miles
they-
Garrett was ranked higher than Chubb.
What were the numbers?
I think like 30 and 11, but I'll double check.
I feel even better about it because the
All right.
players are stupid. They
Good.
don't know what the hell they're doing. So we're even more right.
Well, you can be right and be in the minority, by the way. But this just
I
isn't one
often
of the-
am,
This
actually.
isn't one of those cases. That's all.
This is that. To me, it was a no-brainer.
All right, fine. So
Look,
Miles
Nick
Split
Chubb,
hairs.
way better teammate.
I want to know this.
Yeah.
Does anybody have TJ Watt over number 2? Because I have Chubb at 2 over Watt at 3.
Well, I had Chubb at 1, Miles barely over Watt, so I would
Okay.
I'd still say Chubb.
I
obviously.
have Miles too. I have Miles too.
I got Nick Chubb too.
So then,
So
obviously
we're in
Nick
the
Chubb.
same spot then. We got another split.
Wait, no,
No,
I
no,
say
no.
Chubb.
No,
he
no,
says
this is-
Chubb.
this is
Miles
Chubb.
is off the board, so we're saying Chubb. So
No, because now we're comparing Chubb to TJ Watt.
no, because we're not picking TJ.
You
Watt.
said Chubb. I said Chubb.
Okay.
He said
So
Chubb.
Chubb is 2.
So Chubb it is.
So
at
Chubb
2.
is 2. So the
And then-
first 2 picks, Miles Garrett, Nick
Nick Chubb.
Chubb, is TJ Watt number 3.
Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
no
Yes.
doubt. No doubt.
So the first
I mean,
3
right,
picks
guys?
are
Yes.
in.
You know, we've
My number 4 is going to surprise you.
we've
guys.
kind of ignored Batonio.
No, we haven't.
No, we ain't.
You wanted Batonio one of the top 3 players in this game?
Yeah,
I could argue that Batonio is closer to a Hall of Famer than any of them.
and that would be a
You could
good
make
argument.
that argument.
And he's a
Yeah.
guard.
He's played longer.
Guards
Now,
don't touch
the
the
only
Well,
ball.
position doesn't matter. We said
Nice.
position doesn't matter. We said best. If we clarified at the beginning, position
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. Who's the best at their
Essentially,
position?
this exercise is what the NFL Network does with their top 100.
And that's why
Essentially.
I think you guys are biased with Miles over Chubb because of position. I think you're using position.
Well, like I said,
Yeah.
what I did for my exercise,
Yeah.
and everybody can have a different standard, that's okay. I'll just explain what my criterion was if you look at the number of seasons that he's been considered a top player on his unit on the defensive side of the ball. Because that's what impact. That's how impact is measured.
I just think we're so biased by quarterbacks. It's an unfair It's not an apples to apples comparison.
I'll do this then.
Yeah.
Just put Nick Chubb in running backs and use all defensive players for Myles Garrett. You're still going to have. They were going to be very, very, very close.
Because Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett are the two best.
I think what we've determined through this is it's really close between
They're the
these
two
guys.
best. Like Myles Garrett is the best defensive. For me, he's the best defensive end, and now it's very close with Micah Parsons. Some would add,
the way he's playing this year, he's separating himself, guys.
If you're starting a team, you're taking Micah Parsons over Myles Garrett because he's younger.
Particularly because of you.
Now, Nick Chubb, I feel he's the best at his position. So, obviously, you got to put him there. TJ Watt is not the best at his position, so I can't put him higher than
I actually, as much as I love Nick Chubb, I actually think he's the second best at his position.
McCaffrey?
Because I think Christian McCaffrey's better.
Yeah.
Now, Chris,
he does more. Like they're
Well,
different.
If I had to take,
because of his versatility,
if it's
I would
just
take McCaffrey
running the
first.
ball, I would take Chubb. But if I had this, it's hard to argue Chubb over McCaffrey's overall player.
You're right. It is very.
My problem is if
Maybe that's why Chubb's going to catch the ball this year.
Do you want Jay's Mercedes or do you want his convertible?
Fair enough.
Which
okay,
one?
so 3 we all
Who's
agree on
number
what?
4?
That's the question. Who's number 4?
I'd go Batonio 4.
I'd go Minka Fitzpatrick.
I did too.
G?
I think is he the best safety in the game?
Yes.
If not, he's number 2.
Oh, he's the best safety in the game.
Then I got him. I had.
I'm in tonight's game.
I thought you guys.
You
no,
mean
no,
in
I'm
the
talking
NFL?
about the
Oh,
NFL.
I mean, yes.
I thought you said NFL. He's not.
Listen, he's among the top
He's
safeties
among.
in the NFL.
He's among. He's not top. He's not top tier. Like he's not
top
top
tier to
3.
me.
He's top tier
He's
to
not
me.
top 3.
I don't know. I don't know that.
For what it's worth, PFF had him as the number 2 safety in football coming in.
And I think that's fair.
Behind only Derwin James of the Chargers.
That's
I like Derwin James. He's not garbage. I would put. Dang.
Okay, so you and I both say Minka at number 4.
Minka.
Bull, who do you have? Batonio?
I have Batonio. Batonio is as the third guard.
You don't have. You can go somewhere else.
So
you don't have
unless
to
you
go
go
Minka or
Batonio,
Batonio.
Minka.
G, you go anyone you want. You do not have to follow.
No. Like I'm going down my Rolodex.
Can we make an argument for Watson at this point?
No.
Too early.
I'll go with Fitzpatrick. I'll go with him.
All right. So
What's funny is 3 years ago, Watson would have been first on this list.
of course. Sure. Oh, he absolutely would have been first on this list.
Yeah. Who are you going, Batonio or?
I'll go with Minka
He
Fitzpatrick.
sold me out, G.
3 years ago, Baker won a playoff
Sold
game.
me out, G.
Minka Fitzpatrick officially number 4.
That's terrible.
In our.
This one's going to be interesting. Number 5, I think.
number 5.
Yeah.
Well, Batonio.
I went with Batonio at 5.
Batonio.
I did.
Jason?
But
It doesn't matter what I say. I don't think it's Batonio, but it don't matter what.
Who
I
do you
say.
think? Who you
Well,
got?
I know, but who do you have? I struggled with this one, and I think the guy that I have at number 6 is really going to surprise you guys.
Well,
Jay's gonna say Chris Boswell at 6.
No.
I will save mine because it doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm saying Martin Emerson.
That's what I was gonna say.
I
that
really
was gonna
think
be
you
my
think
guy.
Martin Emerson
Yes.
is better than Joe Batonio?
Yes, I do.
What?
I do.
Wait, so for number 5,
Right now,
Emerson.
I'm
right
going
now,
Martin Emerson.
Cover corner? Yes.
Well, no, wait.
Joe Batonio is one of the
We
2 or 3
settled
best
5
guards in
with
football.
Batonio.
Agreed.
Okay, so
Emerson's not one
Batonio
of the
is
3
5.
best
We've all
corners in
agreed.
football.
Yeah,
Batonio.
I have Batonio at 5. We did. As a group, we have Batonio.
How would you
Yeah.
possibly have Emerson over Batonio?
I have
Emerson
Emerson over
at 6.
Batonio.
But he's saying
He's
But
about
it
six.
doesn't matter because you guys voted Batonio.
Batonio's
Yeah.
at Batonio's
If I had
at
to vote for number 5, I would have said Martin Emerson.
But how would you put him ahead of Batonio?
Because I think I've been on the Martin Emerson train all year.
I
I,
know,
think
but
he's
I-
fantastic.
And now here's the problem.
But is he a top 3 corner?
How do
in
you
the
know
league?
he's not going to be at the end of the year?
He might be.
Okay,
but like
then I
we're
want
talking
him right
about
now.
Just show it to him. That's why.
I don't do Kool-Aid,
That's
man.
why.
I'm a journalist. I ain't drinking the
That
Kool-Aid.
is why he
You're
likes
saying
Martin
right
Emerson.
now he's better at corner
I'm
than
saying for
Batonio
this
is at guard?
game, tonight, I would take Martin Emerson. That's what I'm saying.
That's
I would
crazy
too.
to me.
I'm still taking Batonio at 5, Emerson at 6. That's been my. The way our draft is sitting right now is the way
You guys are crazy on Emerson.
Well,
he hasn't
then-
played enough.
All right, fine.
I know he hasn't played enough, and that was. And listen, Bull, that's a great point.
I like him.
and it weighed heavily.
I'll
on
tell you
me.
what. I
like
However,
him.
When he
what I
has
saw
played,
from him last
he's
year,
dominated.
I decided I'm gonna let the first 4 games of 2023 determine whether that was fool's gold or the real thing. And I know it's only 1 game, but that's all I have.
I don't think it's fool's
He
gold.
looked
There's a big
great.
gap between what you guys are talking about as and fool's gold. There's a lot of weight between
yeah,
there.
but I think it's real.
And maybe position is clouding this for me a little bit.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I would take Martin Emerson.
Yeah, but Joe Bitonio is one of the best players in his position. Martin Emerson right now is not.
Martin Emerson is, by the end of the year, Martin Emerson will be considered a top 5 NFL corner.
You think so?
I absolutely do.
I do too.
I absolutely
He's
do.
not right now. Not even close.
We don't know, because again, we saw what we saw last year. I think what's the biggest
I think
jump
you guys
in a
are
guy's
out of your
career?
minds.
You hope it's year 1 to year 2.
We had Bitonio like number 3 on your most important players list, didn't you?
He's a great player.
He is a great player. I had him 5. I have Emerson 6.
You should be his agent.
So we have Emerson, 2 votes for Emerson at 6. Bull, who you going with?
Let me see. I just want to see where Martin Emerson ranks coming into the season on PFF.
Go back to your precious PFF grades.
Well, I gave you the other guys that backed up what you said.
That's all we have.
Right?
PFF.
Minka Fitzpatrick was second. You guys are not taking into account cornerbacks on other. Denzel Ward, by the way, ranked higher at 14.
Well, by my eye test,
I like Martin Emerson better.
is what I saw last year.
I don't think Martin Emerson is better than Denzel Ward.
And what I saw last year and one game out of Martin Emerson, Emerson is trending way up and Ward is trending down.
Okay.
I may be showing my ass on this. I would take Martin Emerson over Denzel Ward right now.
I'm with you.
Greg Newsome ahead of him, too.
It's okay.
I'm just saying.
It's okay.
So have we decided on 7 or what are we doing?
So what's 6?
No, we're still on 5.
We have 2 votes for 6.
No, we're still on 5.
No. We're still at 6.
Bitonio was 5.
Bitonio's 5.
No, but I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right.
So 6, we have 2 votes for Emerson. I still have not gotten a
Hold
vote
on.
for G or Bull.
So unless they say the same player, it's Emerson.
I'm going Watson at 6.
Oh, that's way too high.
G?
Way too high.
So you're picking Emerson based on projection, not.
No, we have a whole season of proof that he was really
he played
freaking
very
good.
well last year.
Was he a Pro Bowler?
No, he should have been. I felt he should have been.
Should have been?
Yeah.
You're breaking down the corners on other teams?
No, I just
No, you guys don't. You're talking out your ass.
No, I'm
you're
not.
talking out your ass.
No, you're wrong. You're
talking
wrong.
out their ass.
You're wrong.
Talking out their ass.
No, you're wrong.
None of us are paying attention to corners on other teams, and you know it.
For the record, I've got a great ass. Just so you know.
So you can
You
talk
got
out
a
of it
fantastic
all
ass.
you
Talk out of it whenever I want.
I agree with you. Jason's got a great ass. I agree with him.
Hey, I'm going with Denzel Ward.
Okay.
So
No, I'm switching to Denzel Ward because I don't want Emerson ahead of him.
Okay.
Let's go.
Break
Let's
the
go.
It is Emerson.
Thank you.
We knew
Thank
those
you.
guys would embarrass
No,
themselves.
hold up. Because Bull went with Watson, he can't change it now just for the sake of argument. So 2 votes for Emerson. Emerson is now
he'd be a
officially
great
the 6th
politician.
He would.
See him in a
God.
primary room.
You gonna kick?
I need to swing some votes.
You guys
away
are out of your
from
mind.
him.
I like
Hey,
Emerson
He
a lot,
didn't even want to do a floor
but the
vote.
idea that he's one of the 5 best corners already, come on. That's
I
ludicrous.
also wait position too. I also wait.
We just said you can't wait position.
If it's close,
you don't
of
want
course
to,
you're
you don't
going
have
to.
to, but I did.
Of course, if it's close, you're going to.
You wait position, but you
Natural
didn't put
instinct.
Deshaun Watson the most important position there.
That's how much
No.
he hasn't played well.
Exactly.
How has he
Like,
played
listen,
well?
let's keep-
What evidence do we have that he's played well?
Emerson has played 18 games, and he has.
And he's been great.
How many turnovers does he have?
I don't care about that.
Oh, we don't
Listen.
care about turnovers.
Listen,
we don't care about turnovers.
Just like I don't say that one interception that Watson threw this year was on him. It was a tipped ball. Sometimes you catch a winning lottery ticket. That means nothing to me.
Well, then what means something to you? Just
Cover.
your eye test.
Cover
All you're going
skill.
by is your eye test. You got nothing else. You got nothing else but eye test.
What the hell else is there? I watch football. I watch how
But you're
we
not
watch
watching
wide
corners
receivers.
on other teams. None of us are on a regular
Wait a
basis.
minute, Bull, I don't watch any other teams.
You're not watching them like you're watching the Browns.
How much football did you watch yesterday?
I watched
I
watched in and out of every game.
So do I.
But I'm not watching it like I'm watching the Browns. I'm watching every single play.
Of course not. Nobody watches football like they do with their team.
The guy's
They
not
all
even the
watch the same.
The
Bull.
guy's not even the best corner from last year.
All right,
Rookie.
I know he's
let's
not.
see.
Yeah.
Number 7. Who are we voting for number 7? G, you can start. You get the first vote on number 7.
Let me get to this vote also.
See, I had Amari Cooper, but we can't use him now.
At 7?
So
At 7?
he's
Yeah.
out.
Give me Deshaun Watson.
I'm going Watson.
2 for Watson.
Well, I'm gonna pick George Pickens.
I can't put him that high.
Where you gonna put? Where you put Pickens?
I mean, Denzel's still out there. But
Yeah, and that's who I had.
And he still went with
I
Watson.
was going back and forth between Ward and Smith.
Zadarius Smith?
Yeah.
Nah, you can't.
I'd put Highsmith above Zadarius Smith.
Ooh, would you really?
Yeah, I would.
Oh, that was. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I thought about that for a half a second.
No, I'd put Highsmith above Zadarius.
Nope.
All right, make your picks, you
Wow.
two. Let's go.
I got.
Chop, chop.
I can't do it. Listen, I can't disregard the man's whole career. He's played what, 7 games in Cleveland?
Yeah.
If I'm gonna give Martin Emerson love for 18 games,
Martin Emerson would say he's gonna be a top 5
can't-
corner by the end of the year.
3 years for Watson's last good year.
but it's on tape.
I'm saying Denzel Ward.
I am too. So we got a
2
tie.
for Ward, 2 for Watson. Earl, that means we have to break the vote. Deshaun Watson or Denzel Ward for number 7? And you have to talk in the mic
Well,
and
now
turn it
wait.
on when you're speaking.
How many of you guys back there? Ant's not here?
Answer, we're just communicating back and forth.
The three of you
We
guys.
don't
break the tie.
we don't want to put no more Supreme Court justices on. We ain't adding no more. It's only
No,
7.
we're not packing the court.
You're packing the
You
court
guys
back
come
there.
up with a consensus pick. If
Don't
it's-
pack
if
in the
it's
court.
Ward,
I know
then
what.
it's Ward.
That's why I looked at Earl and
How are
asked
some of
him.
those guys still on the court?
I don't know.
I'd actually go
They
Ward.
just get money trips.
We're going Denzel Ward. Denzel Ward.
Denzel Ward, you guys are 100% today.
These guys are a disaster.
Dang, that's
They're
crazy.
a
Denzel
disaster
Ward.
back there.
Perfect.
Dang, that's crazy.
Number 8.
Now we know what number 8's going to be. Can they vote? No, they've already cast their
Watson.
vote. They've already cast their vote for Watson, haven't you?
He didn't
Starts
make it.
over every round.
Yeah, it
So you
start.
can vote for that.
I would put Watson.
I can
Yeah,
run.
I had Watson 9. I'll give him 8. I'll concede here, and I'll vote for him too. So it's a unanimous sweep. Because I'm really curious to see like who comes in at 9 and 10. I had so many different names up for those positions.
All right, number 9. We've seen any more Steelers is the real question. We
I'm
have
going
2 so
Darius
far.
Smith at 9, but I know you think that
I would say
Highsmith's better.
Highsmith. I'd
Give
put
me
Highsmith
Zadarius
here.
Smith.
I'm going Wyatt Teller.
So Zadarius Smith it is.
Darius Smith at 9. And number 10 in our...
I had Wyatt Teller at 10.
Wyatt Teller.
And I'd put Alex Highsmith again.
I got Pickens.
So Wyatt Teller it is. Perfect.
10.
At 10.
There was a lot of Browns bias in this
Well,
vote.
I knew there would be. I knew there would be.
So that means, and we'll go down the list
That was
again.
fun, though. We should do that every week.
Picking players
I am so
for
aggravated
tonight's
right
game.
now.
I'm going
Love
to take
it.
Martin
God.
Luther first next week.
Start with
Bull's
number
ears
1.
are red. He's hot.
I'm so angry.
In order, we went Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, T.J. Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Joel Bitonio, and on the back end of the top end, we went with 5 Browns.
So there's 2 Steelers on the list.
So of the top 10 players, we took 8 Browns, and you can switch it over whenever you're ready. Emerson, Ward, Watson, Zadarius Smith, and Wyatt Teller.
I
Okay.
mean, I at least voted for 2 Steelers.
Now,
3 Steelers.
Guys that we could have mentioned for the Steelers, obviously, that we didn't. Johnson and Hayward are out.
Well, Hayward's on the list if he plays.
Oh, he's
Yes,
definitely on the list if he plays.
Yeah.
But he's not.
But so would Cooper.
Amari
have been on the
Cooper
list.
is out. He was on my list. He's out. You can't put him
Johnson
in there.
would have been on the list for me.
George Pickens was a guy that I thought about at the bottom, but when I heard that he might not play, I'm like, well,
if
taking him
if
off
he
the
was
list.
100%, he'd have been on my
He'd
list.
have been on the
for
list.
sure.
Okay.
He'd have been on my list.
Now, let's look at this. Steelers that we could have put on the list that we didn't, that aren't hurt. I had
Highsmith.
Patrick Peterson.
Yep.
I had Highsmith.
Chris Boswell, their kicker.
I had Boswell. I did have Najee Harris only because
I think
I'm
he's-
way down the
yeah.
list now. I'm at 18.
Yeah.
I had Freiermuth. He's hurt
Yeah, he's banged up.
or banged up anyhow. Guys, I think what we
Who was the best player on the Browns that we didn't put on there?
I thought about Thornhill. Didn't put him on the list.
I think
Delpit after last
I think Delpit might mess around and make All-Pro. I ain't gonna lie. When Jim Schwartz came out and said that's the best he's ever seen him play, and he watched him at LSU, like this system just fits him. Like I think he's gonna be a Pro Bowler this year to me.
Dalvin Tomlinson.
Tomlinson, Elijah Moore. Those were guys I had. In my
What's his name? The
11
center.
through
I
20.
can't think of his name right now.
Yeah,
Pochich.
Pochich. I had him on there.
So real quick, guys, before we talk about the rest of the NFL,
Yeah.
we did our headline predictions on Friday. It's on YouTube if you missed it. That was on our TV show. Real quick around the horn, give me a score and who wins tonight before we talk about
I
some
downgraded
other
each
stuff.
team a couple of points. I'm 24-14 Browns.
G?
Go ahead, G.
31-10.
Ooh, 31-10.
I don't remember what I had on my headline. I'll stick with whatever I had.
27-14.
There you go. I can't believe you remember that, and I don't. 27-14.
I remember numbers. Some stupid.
I was at 23-10 the other day. I'm changing my prediction. 42-3. 42-3. F the Steelers. F the Steelers.
That goes viral if we lose tonight.
He ready for the
I don't want
smoke.
that to happen.
When Emerson has a pick 6 tonight, I'm dunking all over your ass
See,
on
here's
Friday.
the thing.
I'm behind you.
See, here's the thing.
It's going to be like one of those trampoline dunk shows.
Let's
We're coming fast and furious, one after the
let's
other.
make it clear yet again, because things get taken out of context. I am in no way
Saying that
MJ Emerson is not a good player,
Oh, no, I know what
or
you're
that I
saying.
don't think he's going to
You're
be very
just saying
good.
that
I'm saying we
Bitonio's-
put the cart before the horse a little bit.
And look,
he
I don't
hasn't
think so.
done it at a high
And
level.
you know, I don't like overreact.
I
and
know
get
you
overly
don't. That's why I'm
emotional.
stunned.
That's how much I like
I know
him.
love
you've
him
loved
too.
this guy
That's
from
how
the
much I
beginning.
like him.
I just think Joel Bitonio's been elite in his position
guys,
for so long.
who was it this week? Because there's so many national pundits. I saw a clip of somebody talking specifically about Martin Emerson. I think it was an NFL Network guy, but I can't remember. saying that, oh, this guy's a Pro Bowler this year. He's a Pro Bowler.
I think his size, it's really his size and his cover skills, obviously.
He looks the part, and he's played it so far.
You can't get loose on him.
His
reach is so long. He's physical.
I go back to that back shoulder
and
throw
he's healthy.
to Chase, where he became the receiver.
And
that tells me he's doing film study. He knew it was coming.
Yeah.
He turned on it, and he became the ball catcher.
And I don't think he missed any games last year. I don't think. Did he play in all of them?
I don't think
I don't
He
remember
played
an
all
injury.
16 last year, yeah. Or
17,
17, excuse me.
I don't remember an injury.
I don't remember one either.
By the way, speaking of injuries, you see Odell got hurt again already?
No, I didn't see that.
I did.
Yeah, it was
ankle, and he missed the second half.
Yep.
There's a lot of people got hurt this weekend.
You know, I'm not.
Emerson did play all 17 games.
He did.
He did.
I'm not a big Odell fan, but unlike Bull, I don't wish injury on anyone.
Well played.
That's funny.
Well
I don't
played.
either.
That's
I don't
good.
either.
That's
Before
good.
we bring in a
Not
Steelers
even
fan to talk
our
a little
opponents.
trash, we're going to go around the NFL real quick. But first, a quick reminder of who the best athletic and casual apparel is, and that is Bird Dogs. Check them out, birddogs.com. They are comfy. They work in the heat. They work in the cold. If you're working out, if you're going to work, they are the best sweatpants, joggers, and athletic shorts you can buy. Check them out, birddogs.com. Boy, you want to start? I know where you want to go with this. You've been waiting all day.
What you want to talk about the Bengals?
Baker.
Oh, Baker. I got to give credit to Baker. Contrary to popular belief, I am absolutely fair. Baker has played tremendously well in these first two games. Do I believe he's going to keep it up? No, because as soon as he plays two good games, he gets cocky and arrogant, and becomes a wise guy in press conferences, which he did last year. But
He did yesterday, too.
I meant to say yesterday, not last year.
Yeah.
But he's played tremendously well in these first two games. Now, you played a team in the Bears who's not very good, but last week they beat a decent team in Minnesota, or at least a team I think is going to be decent in Minnesota. But Baker made some big plays, and you thought Mike Evans and Chris Godwin were going to lose their fantasy value. So far, they have not, because Mike Evans had a monster game yesterday, like 5 for 160. The Bucs ended up getting a pick six to seal the deal when it got cut to 3. But I got nothing bad to say about Baker, except I think it will go down the tubes this week when they play Philadelphia. I think he's going to come back to reality, but all credit due. Through two games, Baker's played just about as well as any quarterback in the league so far this year. He deserves credit for that.
All that's fair.
Yeah, what was the quote? It was his favorite number 13.
Yeah.
He's again, two good
Why?
games.
Why?
And he's shaking his rolling pin at anyone
he does
who.
that.
What is the
come on.
point of saying what he said?
If he
I don't
leads
know
his
what he
team to the
said.
playoffs,
This is what's so
then
aggravating.
talk a little,
What did he
talk
say?
little stuff.
He said Mike Evans is the best number 13 he's ever played with.
Which is true, but
and it's obviously
Odell. It's a shot at
Odell.
Okay.
But
It's just unnecessary.
unnecessary.
why would you say it?
Because that's him.
I know
he can't help himself.
But here's the pattern for Baker.
He shaved 3 times in one day.
He's overlooked, then he overperforms. Then he's overlooked, then it's a cycle. If
Yeah.
you look at his career,
Right.
guys, he has done something that's very hard to do in that he's won football games.
Hey guys, hold
with
on.
four different
Hold on.
teams
This
in
is
2
very
seasons.
important. No, this is very important. Yeah, y'all got trolled. That's a fake account. That's not a real quote.
What? Oh, it is?
That's a fake quote. Not real.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear
what's
that.
fake?
Not real. That quote. He did not. He did not say
We both
that.
took the bait. I
Y'all
saw it.
got
the
trolled.
13 quote is
I saw
fake?
it yesterday.
It is
Good.
fake. That is not real.
Somebody put it
you know
on.
what?
Somebody put it on our group chat.
I'm glad to hear it.
Tyvus did.
Tyvus,
did it?
Bad job out of you.
Tyvus!
Tyvus, bad job. First of all, Tyvus tweets some of the or sends our group chat some of the most random stuff
I know.
I've ever
From
seen.
non-credible
Is
people.
that man ever not on Twitter?
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you.
No, you know what? I don't. Here's the thing. I don't consider that getting got. Here's why. It was from one of our guys.
Yeah.
It was.
We got got by Tyvus.
Tyvus got.
It was friendly fire.
Did
Tyvus
Baker,
got.
So now we have to vet everything Tyvus sends
did
us.
Baker say anything dopey after the game? No.
You know what? I
Good
didn't
for him.
see anything, and it was weird. Now, I will admit, I don't see a lot of post-game news conferences until midday Monday. I'll do a lot of scouring for that between shows. Because I'm not, who's caught up in news conferences?
Yeah.
But when someone sends me something, I don't know. I didn't even look at the account it was from. To me, that was a Tyvus.
Tyvus sends trade rumors from like the most random places.
When you know it's a rumor,
Anything to this?
Yeah.
when you know it's a rumor, though,
Yeah.
it's so easy to dismiss.
Right.
But I don't look at, like, Tyvus.
Tyvus, you're banned.
I was just going to say that. Tyvus is banned from our fantasy group.
Yeah, from the chat group.
Get him out of there.
By the way, if Baker had said that, it would have been correct. Mike Evans is better than Odell.
Here's what's funny.
It's
in line with what he would say.
We all just assumed it was
That's
true.
exactly a Baker Mayfield thing to say.
Yeah.
By the way, does anybody want to argue with me? Does anybody want to argue that Odell Beckham better than Mike Evans?
No, Mike Evans is better.
No. What about Earl? What about anybody?
Of course.
I mean, that's a given. You see his career
How you
stats.
gonna ask for an argument?
I want to argue.
Ain't no argument to be had. Mike Evans been better.
Well, that was right on.
Should have had that.
Mike Evans, the only receiver in NFL history with 9 straight 1,000-yard seasons out of his career.
That was
So
the best.
kudos to Baker. He has played very well.
And we got to give him even more points because the only negative thing was why is this guy running his
Yeah,
pie hole?
and he didn't.
And
Apparently
he didn't.
he
It was
did.
Tyvus. Tyvus, zip your pie hole.
All right,
more.
What's next, Mike?
The
No
Bengals
more
are
Tyvus.
0-2. How does that feel, Bull?
I can't breathe.
How does what feel?
Your
I can
Bengals
barely
being
hear you
0-2.
for some reason. Go ahead. Let me turn you up a little bit. Go ahead.
The Bengals are 0-2.
It don't feel great. If Burrow were completely healthy, I wouldn't be worried at all. I actually thought he played very well from like late second quarter on. He threw a pick that was a bad pick, but they moved the ball up and down the field from their third possession on, and they fell short because the defense couldn't stop the Ravens on that last drive. Obviously, I don't want the Bengals to be 0-2, but I think they're in some trouble because of Burrow's injury. I don't know, like if it's going to keep popping up, they're not going to make the playoffs.
At the end, after the last touchdown they scored, he was limping off the field.
Right, it was a great throw.
It was an unbelievable
Yeah.
throw. Very few guys in the league
He
can make that
finally
throw.
looked like himself in the second
And
half.
then he goes and he hits the calf with the Theragun,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I
like, oh,
immediately
boy.
thought, uh-oh, that's
Yeah, it's
still
a big
there.
problem.
That's
It's a big
still there.
problem. I mean,
And
he's not going to be as good.
he rested for 4 weeks, and it's still a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem.
It's only going to be a
and
problem
ultimately,
for him
there's
all
no
year.
excuses. As I said for Baker, like you're on the field, you got to be able to perform, and he performed pretty well in the second half, but it was not good enough.
Right.
And they haven't played very well.
Assess what you saw from Lamar Jackson. There was a series there at the end of the game when they needed to move the sticks, and it was a critical third down, and he ran for it.
Yeah.
And I said, there he is. That's why you pay the guy. He's almost still
I thought
one
Lamar,
of one.
I thought Lamar played one of the best. You know, the numbers aren't gaudy, but
No,
I
thought it was more his run.
But I
His
thought it
decisions
was
to run when he decided to do it.
I thought it was one of the better games I've seen him play in a while.
Disciplined.
He made big throws when he had to on third down.
Yeah.
Second, and I think it's 2nd and 22.
Yeah.
You think it's at the end of the game. The
Yeah.
Bengals, you say, listen, give up 7 yards, man.
Yeah.
You get it to 3rd and 15 or 14, and you're like, we're good with that.
Yeah.
He drops a dime to Mark Andrews over the middle for 20.
It was a great play.
And I'm just like, that's a backbreaker.
And he's got, if Odell's healthy, which, he's not now, and you can't rely on him, then it's good. But this kid, Zay Flowers, he's a player.
Oh, my God. He is
He looks like a real player. And so I don't think the Ravens' defense is that good, honestly.
I like him.
I don't like their pass
do.
rush.
I like
The
them.
Bengals' offensive line actually played pretty well. I think Burrow only got sacked once, and that was his fault. He held on to the ball too long.
Yeah.
But I mean they're not playing great. But
obviously
I don't give up on a season unless he's hurt. Then the season's over.
I had some numbers just for the week 2. This really jumped out at me.
Yeah.
There's only 2 teams in the AFC left 2-0. Now the Browns could get there. But the fact that after 2 weeks, only
Already.
2
Yeah.
2-0.
The AFC's tough.
It's the Ravens and the Dolphins. Over in the NFC, this is fascinating. 3 of the 4 in the NFC East are undefeated.
Right.
The Eagles, Washington is the surprise 2-0. Obviously, the Giants are what they are, but Dallas is at 2-0 with an asterisk. They look phenomenal.
Now Washington, in fairness, they've played Denver and Arizona, and these are great teams.
But they had a nice comeback win yesterday.
Nice. So did the Giants.
Then this is crazy to me. The
Niners are 2-0.
Tampa Bay and Atlanta 2-0.
Yeah.
San Francisco 2-0. New Orleans could move to 2-0 with a win tonight. They're
Right.
the other Monday Night Football game.
Well, Atlanta, the Giants, and Washington all came back from big deficits to pull off nice
Giants
wins.
comeback was incredible.
That was nuts.
Washington, too.
I love being able to watch at 4 o'clock, watching the 4 games. But Bijan Robinson looks fantastic for Atlanta. But they got no quarterback. He's not any good, Desmond Ridder. I think that's pretty obvious.
Yeah.
They got a great backfield. Arizona stinks. I think secretly their front office was happy they blew that game to the Giants because they want to be the top pick in the draft.
They're tanking.
I
2
think,
weeks in,
the players don't want to lose, obviously.
No.
But and
Chargers and Bengals are both 0-2.
Yeah.
That's a surprise to me.
Well, the Chargers gagged their game away.
Oh my God! I'm telling you, I think their coach is on the hot seat.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, there's too much talent there.
Chargers
Now, I know
lost
they
to the
obviously were
Titans.
playing without Eckler.
He could have been fired after the playoff collapse last year.
Honestly, it wouldn't have surprised me.
No, I think a lot of people
remember,
expected
2 years
it.
ago they missed the playoffs because he miscalculated.
Yeah.
in the last game of the year.
He's got to be on the hot seat more than any coach in the league.
Probably.
I would think so.
You just gave all the reasons that I feel like the Cleveland Browns, if they take care of business against Pittsburgh, should be excited. You look around the league, and the teams that were supposed to be good, the Chargers, they 0-2. Denver, they still haven't shown anything.
But it's early. You still can't make sweeping judgments.
But you got to have a mindset to say, I'm going to take advantage of it. The Jets were supposed to be good. Now they got Zach Wilson again.
I mean, that is true. The Jets were supposed to be good. Now they're done.
You know what?
If Joe Burrow's going to be injured all year, they're in big trouble. So that's 2 good teams that could be out of the mix.
For the first time in 20 years, I don't care about the rest of the AFC. I'm looking at the division. You win tonight. You go 2-0 to start in this division with Baltimore coming in a couple weeks. Win the division. Don't worry about what's going on. And when have we ever said? I mean, it was week 4 last year, and we were saying, at least I was saying, guys, the division's gone. It has to be the wild card. Maybe it wasn't quite that early, but it was early.
It was early.
Where I thought they can't win the division. They're not going to win the division.
You can't win it in 4 weeks.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's reversed. Early last year, I was looking, going, you can't win the wild card. It's going to have to be the division. I don't know how you're going to win this division. That's why I was pessimistic on them making the playoffs.
Right.
Because they lost to so many of those teams, the Jets.
Right.
Well, they lost the tiebreaker to every one of the teams that was in the mix in the AFC wild card. They lost to.
But right now, with the Burrow situation the way that it is, with the Steelers being down, you win tonight in Pittsburgh. If you win that game, it's about the division, guys. It's not about the wild card. It's not about what's going on in New York, Miami, Buffalo, none of that. Yeah. Win the division. Win tonight. Go to 2-0 in the division, and you just set your scope on winning the AFC North.
And you're a good team.
I want home field advantage.
When you're a good team, you don't worry about it. You take care of business on your own.
That's right.
And then you let the chips fall where they may.
I want home field advantage.
First, you got to go take care of business tonight, because then all this conversation goes away for a while.
I mentioned San Diego and Cincinnati as being 0-2 because that's huge for the Browns. These are teams that, one way or another, you got to finish above if you want to make the playoffs, whether it's in the wild card or the division.
And we can throw the Jets out, right? Like, they're done. They're done.
I just don't see. Because you know what? After week 1, I thought, hey, their defense might be able to ride them to 9 or 10.
No.
But still,
their defense last night.
There's a reason they went and got Aaron Rodgers, because they had no faith in this kid. They knew he wasn't the answer.
And you know
it
what?
doesn't matter what they say now. That's still the fact.
What we said earlier, when you know you've got a Cy Young pitcher on the mound, you play one way.
That's right.
When you know you don't, there's no room for error. And they, to me, played with the Aaron Rodgers hangover.
We can't get hung up on home field and all this.
No,
it's 2 weeks into the season.
Win
the Dolphins look good. We talk about teams that look worse. The Dolphins and Ravens so far look much better than we thought. So,
I expected the Dolphins to look great. I did. Their offense is scary.
You have 6 division games. You start out 2-0.
Yeah, it's a good advantage.
Win the division.
That's right. And it's a race to 11. 11 gets you in. So just start checking the W's.
Yeah, that's right.
Get to 11 one way or another, hook or crook, and go to the playoffs.
Well, we have spent 90 minutes, give or take, with the Browns side of tonight's Monday Night Football matchup. And now we're going to bring in a guest to give us a tiny bit of perspective from the opposite end of the spectrum. Before we bring in Cameron Kerr, who I know from my days in Texas, I want to remind everybody one last time that we are doing a post-game show tonight, and every Friday through football season, we are going from YouTube to Channel 3 from 12:30 to 1. We are on TV. This quote-unquote little YouTube show is now also a featured TV show on Channel 3, so make sure you guys tune in on Fridays, 12:30 to 1 on WKYC. It was fun the first time around. It's going to get better and better as we do more of them, so check us out. And with that, let's welcome in Cameron Kerr of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, who comes to us from Texas behind enemy lines here, because Cam is a Steelers fan,
Oh, they got the hard hat.
and is
Look at
ready
that
to talk a
dopey
little
helmet.
trash
The only thing missing are the double
about
cup
the
holders on
Steelers.
the side with the straw going in.
Is that a Cordell Stewart jersey?
So it depends on who you talk to, how old they are. This is actually a Ryan Switzer jersey, but every old person that I talk to always asks me if it's a Cordell Stewart jersey.
Go with Slash, bro.
I'm old.
Yeah, old. It also is Santonio Holmes jersey. So.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that is a great picture, biopic.
I think Santonio Holmes was playing the last time the Steelers won a playoff game. Is that true?
It might be.
Yeah, it might be. I was 8 when we won that Super Bowl. So if that puts it into perspective.
Yeah, it's been a minute. That's okay. We haven't won a Super Bowl. So we're not going to talk historical trash because we can't. I want to keep it on tonight's game. Tell us why we're all wrong for picking the Browns, if you can.
Yeah, I can. So the talk of the game, right? And you guys talked about it on Friday, and I wanted to start off by giving you guys props because I listened to that whole show on Friday, and I thought you guys did a really good job of talking about how talking about the Steelers side too. But you guys talked about the offensive line a little bit. I personally think, and after watching the 49ers game, that the loss of Conklin is going to be much bigger than the loss of Cam Hayward. Although I am high on DeJuan Jones, I thought that he went way too late in the draft, and I was really upset that the Browns got him. But I think that TJ Watt gets home, and you guys not picking him 1-1 in that draft is absolute insanity. I mean, he is better than Myles Garrett in every statistical category, and they have the same amount of games played.
Blasphemous. So even as if I told you right now they're both 22 and coming out of college, take your pick. You're taking TJ over Myles?
TJ Watt every time. He's got 6 interceptions to Myles' 0, 37 pass deflections to Myles' 13, 23 forced fumbles to Myles' 13, 77.5 sacks. Myles is 75. 333 total tackles, 243 solo tackles, 90 assisted tackles, and 88 for loss. All beating.
Let's talk about who gets double teamed more.
Okay.
Because one guy has played with a bunch of great players, and the other guy's played with a bunch of scrubs on the D line.
Facts.
I mean, that's true.
I mean that is fair. And Mike has a video that I wanted to share when we talked about the offensive line. We now have this guy named Darnell Washington who just absolutely put Nick Bosa, the highest played defensive end in the league, into oblivion. Look at this.
He's a tight end, right?
He's a tight end. He is a tight end.
He's
a tight end.
How many plays?
I mean, his run block rate wasn't very good, though. His pass block rate was okay.
Good PFF rating, yeah.
So
I think he's going to be able to help us out. No. I mean, you guys, Kenny Pickett looked bad. I will admit that. He did miss a lot of throws in the game against the 49ers, but I think he's going to pick it up, and I know you guys are probably down on him and don't think he's actually really good. But I think that he is going to bounce back in a big way. And I know we're missing Deontay Johnson, but George Pickens is actually playing. I know you guys talked about him being questionable.
So he's definitely playing.
Wait, hold on. You actually think Mac Jones is going to play well tonight?
Kenny Pickett.
I think Kenny Pickett's going to play well tonight, yeah. I think he's going to bounce back in a big way.
Mike.
I think that if Matt Canada
I'm saying he's Mac Jones. There's no difference. He's a scrub just like that scrub in New England. He is a bum. He's got tiny hands. I was going to say something inappropriate. What about his tiny hands? But I won't go that far. I won't take it that another look. Him and his tiny hands. He's getting overhyped because he wears those ugly colors. And that's it. Let's be honest. If he were drafted by the Browns, the national story would be he sucks. He's terrible. He's the next Deshaun Kaiser. All right? The Steelers got lucky. The Steelers got lucky that Ben Roethlisberger, one of the worst human beings on the face of the earth, It was good. Yeah, say what you want. Go ahead, make your Deshaun Watson comments. That's fine.
No.
Ben Roethlisberger's a terrible human being. At least behind the scenes, people like Watson. Nobody liked Ben. Everybody that covered him hated him. They won't admit it publicly, but they tell me privately. Terrible. Hated his guts. He was an awful human being. His teammates thought he was a bum. And you got lucky getting him for a bunch of years. And okay, fine. And that's it. The Steeler run is over. You're done. You're finished. Nothing. You ain't going to win nothing anytime soon. Bleep the Steelers. Go ahead.
All right.
Where does he start?
Mike has another clip, my last clip that I sent to him. And
came with videos.
If you can do this to the Ravens, then I will think you're the guy 100%, 100 out of 100 times. This is when I knew that Kenny Pickett was going to be the guy, and he was going to be the guy to put the Browns into another era like Big Ben did. The Steelers at home have beat since 1999 when the Browns came back into the league are 23-3 at home against the Browns.
Irrelevant. That's old news. It was all Ben Roethlisberger. Most of it was Ben Roethlisberger. He was great, and you were great.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett is going to be the next one to put you guys in the ground like we always do.
He's a bum. You know he's a bum. You got to pretend he's good. Come on.
Little brother like you guys have always been for the last however many years.
Where are you from, by the way? Where are you from?
I grew up in Houston, Texas. My dad is from McKeesport, Pennsylvania. My grandpa was a reporter for the Pirates for a while before everyone kind of moved to Texas.
All right, you're allowed to be a Steeler fan.
Yeah, you've earned that.
You didn't jump on the bandwagon like a lot of Steeler fans.
I have a question for you. Why is on your bio it says Division I athlete, and athlete is in quotes? What's up with that?
Mike thinks that swimmers aren't athletes. I was a swimmer for Texas A&M. Actually, when Myles Garrett was there, I used to not hang out, but like we would be in the same classes and some of the same athletic rooms, study halls, stuff like that. I love Myles
That's
Garrett,
legit.
but
Swimming D1,
that's legit. That count.
If you were a swimmer at Texas A&M,
Mike,
far more impressive to me that Mikey rode the bench
That's fair.
at Emerson.
Thank you.
Can I read a
Take
text?
those quotes off of that.
Can I read a text from Cam's wife this morning?
Sure.
I texted his wife, Cass. What up, Cass? And I said, I need to make a bio for Cam for the show today. What could I put on to bust his balls? And she said, he, in quotes, swam backwards in college.
Did you ever try the backstroke?
That's messed up.
I mean, your wife threw you under the bus. Is she a Steeler fan too?
If you think, no, she's actually a Cowboys fan, and
that's
I
even
think
worse.
the Cowboys
What a household.
Yeah.
What a household.
So luckily, we weren't born in that era where the Steelers and the Cowboys were, in going to Super Bowls and playing each other in Super Bowls all the time. Not that you guys would know anything about that, but
I lived it. I remember, Cameron. I'm old.
We wouldn't. That's fair.
Yeah.
By the way, wait. So you were trying. Hold on. We got to get back to something. You were trying to make a point that Kenny Pickett. This was late last season, right? Late last season. Kenny Pickett playing against what's his name, Tyler Huntley, because they beat a Ravens team that was completely falling apart at the end of the year. That's some sort of great accomplishment by Kenny Pickett.
I'm more curious how he thinks the Steelers are going to move the ball tonight without Deontay Johnson with a bum leg on George Pickens. How are they going to move the ball?
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually a bum leg. I think that Calvin Austin is going to get involved, and he is a super speedy wide receiver. And the Browns beat reporters have already been reporting that they're trying to prepare something for Calvin Austin, which should tell you something, and hopefully that will open up George Pickens.
Hey, the way the Browns coaches work, they want the star players on the field. When those guys are hurt, it throws them for a loop. They've already said that.
They got rid of those guys. They got rid of those.
The Browns defensive back coach said,
oh my God, the Bengals' best receivers.
We were not prepared.
By the way,
for Chase and for Higgins to go out of the game. We weren't ready for that. It's almost unfair.
If they played, we'd have beat them, but when they left, we didn't know what to do.
And maybe Mike will actually get it this
time.
time.
Kenny Pickett is the guy.
By the way, hopefully Mike will not correct me this time. Your running back, Trent Richardson, is he going to get cut next year, or he's no good, right? He's just a guy, right? You admit that, right? Or no?
Me?
Yeah. Who'd you think I was talking to?
Wait. Sorry, I thought you were talking to someone else. No, I mean, are you talking about not? Oh, you're comparing Najee Harris.
Yeah, about not good Harris. Not good Harris. Is he?
Cam, the joke was so bad the second time it took two of us not to get it.
And he even explained it. He goes, "Maybe Mike, you'll get this one."
Nope.
Sorry.
No.
So I know Kenny Pickett is the guy because of what I've seen him do against the Ravens, what I've seen him do against the Browns, all that.
49ers.
But I'm not sure about Najee Harris. Honestly, I'll be honest about him. I know Jaylen Warren is a dog. Y'all should be watching out for him because I know he's a dog. I'm not confident about Najee, and also if y'all want another thing to throw at me here,
Yeah.
Levi Wallace got absolutely destroyed last week, and Brandon he let up like over 100 yards receiving to Brandon Ayuk. Now, is Joey Porter Jr. a better option? Are our backup quarterbacks a better option than him? I don't know yet. So I am a little worried about that. But I think that Kenny will be able to find some targets to like Calvin Austin, and hopefully that will open up some George Pickens. You also forgot about the best tight end in the league, the next Travis Kelce, Pat Fryer.
Wow, man.
He's going to go.
Oh, my God.
You're hairy hyperbole. Listen, Cameron, where the rubber meets the road, what's the score? 3-2 Pittsburgh? What are you going with?
No, it's going to be an old school defensive game. The final score is going to be Steelers 14, Browns 10.
14-10.
Wow. Y'all had a way too high scoring.
You have faith in that awful offensive coordinator to get 2 touchdowns with your team?
No, but I will say that
they're going to be defensive touchdowns.
The Steelers went above 50% with Hodges, with Mason Rudolph, with Mitch Trubisky the past couple years, with Matt Canada and Mike Tomlin. So I mean that tells you something. In
a couple of corrections, they weren't over 500 with Trubisky. In fairness to Pickett got him over 500.
He's saying for the season with Trubisky.
Please refer to that other bum by his proper name, the Great Gazoo.
Hey, we got to go, Cameron. Thanks for coming on and taking our grief.
Yeah,
good job, buddy.
All right.
See ya.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
That was fun. As promised, we've got a message from Bernie Kosar to all Steeler fans. I hope Cameron stays on the line so he can hear this. This is Bernie Kosar with one of his stories that he loves to tell. I've heard it many, many times. But here it is. Bernie's message to Steelers fans. Roll it.
Bernie! Bernie got it. For like 2 minutes. Yeah. So there's a lot growing up in Youngstown, Ohio. I get this asked a lot about Browns and Steelers. Half the town was Steelers, half were Browns. A lot of people come up to me and they say, "God, you got to hate me. I'm a Steelers fan." And actually the opposite. I love the Steelers fans, especially as I get older in life. I don't want to hate anybody and stuff. So this, and the Steelers have won a Super Bowl in every generation. 6 Super Bowl rings. One of the greatest organizations ever. All right. Except the 9 years I kicked your ass.
That's how you drop the mic.
Yeah.
That's how you do it.
I seen that yesterday. It was crazy.
And Mike tried diminishing all those wins by sending me some stats. Bernie wasn't so great against Pittsburgh.
Was not trying to diminish the wins. I just was looking. I was going to make a whole stat graphic. Yeah. Bernie's dominance of the Steelers, and his numbers weren't great against.
They beat him,
but he was 10-4, and that's all that matters.
And you got to remember,
that's called kicking their ass.
You got to remember, you can't look at statistics from those days with the same eye you look at them now.
No.
Especially, running game, okay, but not the pass.
Bull will pull out the PFF grades from 1989, and then we'll judge them based on those PFF grades, baby.
Bernie,
I would like to get to the point I would like to get to the point where we stop talking about 35 years ago. That would be nice.
That would be great.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we're going back 35 years.
Deshaun Watson's being paid enough money that over the next 5 years, he's got a lot of memories to erase.
By the way,
he better start tonight.
I'm glad you said how much money he's making, because G was like, remember when Burrow signed his contract, you were like, are they going to talk about his contract all the time? I don't know if you guys watched the broadcast,
yeah,
but I watched the entire broadcast of the Bengals-Ravens. They must have mentioned his contract 12 times.
It's a rope around
so
his
they,
neck.
you know,
it's there.
they mentioned it every time he makes a bad throw. 275, whatever money it is.
I've been listening to the Bengals, podcasts and stuff online, and you are correct.
Yeah.
Every single time something happens,
He wears it now.
They're like,
we have super chats.
His calf should hurry up and heal. He has 275.
Right. Nuggets has some super chats. We have a minute and a half left.
My guy, Peter G. I don't know Peter G. I don't know why I called him my guy, but he sent us 3 real quick. He said, back to back to back, Emerson's the 3rd best corner on the team. This is the worst list I've ever seen. Problem is when they get loose on Emerson, he lacks foot speed to catch up and gets burned.
He's a pretty smart guy.
No, it's all right. He's allowed to be wrong.
He's wrong.
Had to read those. He sent 3. Had to make sure I got him in. So
what was the last one?
3rd best corner on this team.
No, I heard that. What was
he said the problem is when Emerson, he lacks the foot speed to catch up and gets burnt.
He doesn't get burned.
We'll see.
Yeah, I disagree with that pretty wholeheartedly.
We'll see. Show me the tape. Sorry, Peter G, and you're not our guy. Is that it?
Yeah, that's all we got. Post-game
right,
show tonight, pre-game show at 6, post-game at probably 11:15-ish, I would guesstimate.
UCSS all day long, right?
All day long.
That's true.
Do your thing. If you got game day rituals and you're superstitious, fine, do it. Enjoy the game tonight. Make sure that you watch the post-game show. Make sure you watch G. Bush's Barbershop pregame show at 6 o'clock. And whatever you do, don't be late. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, we're going to break some stuff down.
I'll have a podcast tomorrow morning on the Browns as well. Look at that. Wow. All over the place.
Crazy.
Unbelievable. It's like a media empire here.
See you in overtime.
What the heck is going on?
I got to get to Pittsburgh.
Peace.
You